Next on Knicks Game Night, the Knicks are rising to join the NBA's elite thanks to Chris Childs. Jeff Van Gundy on his balanced bench. And the Hawks are soaring thanks to the exploits of Steve Smith, Christian Laettner, and others. It's all coming up next live on the MCS Cannon Knicks Game Night. And tonight, coming to you live from our New York studios, I'm Mike Crispino with the MCS Cannon Knicks Game Night. Al Trautwig down in Atlanta with John Andres for the call of tonight's game between the Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks winners of 3 straight as they head down south. The Hawks coming in at 17-11, one of the surprise teams certainly in the NBA so far this year. The addition of Dikembe Mutombo has allowed Lenny Wilkins to institute the kind of defense he really loves to play, and it has made a difference. Hawks extremely difficult to play at home. They've won 10 in a row there. As the Knicks face their toughest month of the year schedule-wise, 10 of their 16 games in the month of January played away from Madison Square Garden. Let's take a look back now at the Knicks and the Bullets on Thursday as the Knicks hit the road in Landover, boosting their road record now to 9-4. Our Discover card, payback, playback. And we begin with a look at Jeff Van Gundy, whose team now 22-8. Did not get off to a good start. The Bullets were running and gunning. Juwan Howard to Chris Webber, and Washington had a 14-6 early lead for Jim Lynam and company. His team underachieving so far with Rod Strickland at the point. Loose balls everywhere, and Ewing able to retrieve, moving inside and throwing up a tough hook shot and scoring on that one as the Knicks able to come back to tie it up at 16 apiece. Then John Starks off the bench, instant offense, hits a 3, and the Knicks had tied it at 22 apiece after 1 quarter. In the second, Starks drives around Howard, lays it in over George Marason, and the Knicks suddenly had a 40-28 lead. They led by 11 at half, 45-34. Ewing got rejected, but look at Charles Oakley, who averages 10 points, 10 rebounds, never giving up, and Oakley able to get one down for the Knicks. In the third, Charlie Ward went backdoor to Starks on the alley-oop. The Knicks led it 66-60 after 3. Here's a look as Ward pulled up to look like he was going to shoot a 3, but found Starks, and the Knicks lead at that point was 8. They were up by 6 after 3 quarters. And then the bench in the fourth quarter worked by Buck Williams, among others, going between Tracy Murray and Chris Webber, the Monster Jam. The Knicks by 8. And then off the wild run here on the fast break, Chris Childs, great reversal, then goes up for the layup. Childs scored there, and the Knicks ended up winning it by a final of 92-80. And afterwards, Van Gundy credited the bench.
I thought it was terrific. Yeah, I think it's what you need when, for whatever reason, our starters, we got off to a slow start, even though we were playing hard. They jumped out. Our starters got us back into it, and then our bench boosted the lead in the second and in the fourth. And I thought that was a good sign for us.
John Wallace playing some quality minutes off the bench for the New York Knicks on Thursday against the Bullets. So Knicks in Atlanta are coming up from the Omni. Used to be one of the least intimidating places to play in the league. Now at 10-1 at home, the Atlanta Hawks certainly a formidable foe for the Knicks. Let's go to Atlanta now, where Al Trautwig is standing by with Johnny Hoops Andres. Al, it's all yours.
Okay, Mike, and good evening, everybody. This will be the Hawks and the Knicks tonight from the Omni, which is playing out its final season. We'll have more on that development for the Atlanta Hawks franchise as we bring you our game coverage a little bit later. The Knicks and the Hawks have already met once this season back in December, and we will talk in a moment about the struggles that they had. But back here in this arena last year, Patrick Ewing had a sensational game, and I guess if you're a player, John, you come back to an arena where you did great things, it makes you feel good, and maybe that'll affect Patrick Ewing tonight.
I would think so, Al, after one of the great performances of his career, and he's been on a roll lately playing very well. After that great performance last year, Patrick can feel good, as you mentioned, Al. At one point, the score was 89-79 Hawks, and then Ewing brought it closer with that pick-and-roll play, followed by 16 of the last 17 points that the Knicks scored. It was a 20-1 run to wind up that game. What a fourth quarter for Ewing, and what a performance. Jump shooting, working around the basket, foul line shots. Everything seemed to roll well for the Knicks, and they got him the ball. That's another key part of the great performance that he had. The Hawks had nothing to do no way to prepare for the performance of Ewing. It culminated with this slam dunk to give the Knicks a 101-92 win. And it was a 29-point performance last December. Excellent shooting from the field, from the foul line. The rebounding was there, and the assists. And I think Patrick might remember that one, Al, as he enters this game tonight.
Of course, there are a couple of big differences in the teams that we'll see tonight on the floor. From an Atlanta perspective, it's Dikembe Mutombo, who has a presence that the Atlanta Hawks haven't had in years, and Christian Laettner, who's been playing exceptionally well for this team, although if you just judged by his performance at the Garden, you'd think he was still struggling like he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes, 4 games ago in New York, 2 days before Christmas, Laettner had a very difficult game shooting the basketball. He was rebounding fine, but he had a lot of frustrations, and Oakley had a lot to do with it in the helping Knicks defense. He couldn't find the basket. However, last night in New Jersey, it was a different story. And when 1997 broke, Christian Laettner was a different player. He's been very tough of late. However, he'll be remembering December 23rd, 13 points, 6 of 19 from the field, 1 out of 10 in the fourth quarter alone. But you know the Knicks will be remembering, and it'll be pointed out how he's been over the last 3 games. Against Chicago, the next game after the Knicks game, he killed the Bulls in that upset win for the Atlanta Hawks with 37 points, 14 rebounded, and it's been going well for him ever since.
Well, one of the things that the Knicks had a problem dealing with when they faced the Atlanta Hawks at any time is dealing with Steve Smith. And he'll be talking to John Andres a little bit later when we bring you back to the Omni in Atlanta. Pre-game here before the Knicks take on the Atlanta Hawks. But right now, we'll send you back to Mike Crispino.
Thanks very much, Al. Atlanta, 5 men in double figures, scoring very well for Lenny Wilkens, led by Christian Laettner at 19 points a game, Mookie Blaylock at 18, and Steve Smith at 18. We'll talk more about Steve Smith, and we'll hear from him as he talks with John Andres when we return with more on the MCS Cannon Knicks game night here on MSG.
You're watching MCS Cannon Knicks Game Night on MSG Network.
Introducing the New York Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now and get the only card that gives you savings, service, and great Knick discounts. Get the savings of no annual fee, this low introductory rate for purchases when you pay your bill over time, and American Express service. Plus, discounts at the Garden at restaurants and on Knicks merchandise. A free gift just for using the card. You can even win prizes like a skybox seat to a Knicks game. So apply for your Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now, because there's just one thing to say about a credit card this great. American Express helps Knicks fans do more.
Want to get your feet wet on the internet? AT&T makes it easy to catch the wave. Every day, AT&T helps thousands of businesses, big and small, search for information, send email, and set up websites where they can do business with their customers. So whether you're a little kahuna or a big kahuna, grab your board and hop on. AT&T. It's going to be a great ride.
MCS Service and Canon Technology. Let us show you the possibilities.
As you can see, the Knicks have fared well at Atlanta of late, winning 4 of their last 6, and of course beat Atlanta in December right here at Madison Square Garden in a low-scoring affair. One of the reasons Atlanta has improved, Dikembe Mutombo, who came from Denver. He's averaging 12 points, 10 rebounds, and he's helped back up defensively for the rest of the Atlanta Hawks. At the guard position, not all that strong, especially in the Steve Smith from Steve Smith. Dikembe has blocked 99 shots so far in 27 games. But the subject of our MCS Cannon possibilities tonight has to do with Steve Smith, formerly with the Miami Heat, of course, the Michigan State star, a two-guard with great size, averaging 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists as the two-guard of the Atlanta Hawks, and he joins our John Andres.
Thank you, Mike. Steve Smith, your team now playing the second game of a back-to-back, and I was noticing, looking at the statistics, how the Hawks have been doing in back-to-back games. It has not been good at 1-7 right now. How does Lenny Wilkins get you ready to change that situation tonight?
I think he's really got us upbeat. I think it's a situation we've been winning at home, and we got to start winning back-to-back games, become a great team in this league.
What is the big difference for your team now that it is 10-0 at home versus the road situation, as you would express it?
I think we've been playing well, playing together at home. We haven't been concentrating a lot, and it seems like every time we get a chance to go on the road, somebody gets hurt. And we've had a lot of injuries, but we're trying to put that behind us and start playing well.
Steve, talk about your game for a moment now. I noticed your shooting is down a bit this year. I was just kidding you about coming out and not shooting before the game. You said you've been doing a lot of that lately, and it hasn't been working. How are you going to snap out of the slump?
I hope so tonight. I think it's been something. My ankle's bothering me a little bit, and also I've been missing a lot of easy shots and getting frustrated and taking some shots that shouldn't be taken. But otherwise that, I'm going to start, trying to concentrate and do other things besides shooting.
Steve, talking about poor shooting, as a team in New York in your last meeting 4 games ago, your team really died in the fourth quarter, had a tough time shooting. Was that inflicted by the Knicks, or is that something that has been a problem just for the Hawks?
I think 2 things. One by the Knicks. They played good defense. And then the second thing, we didn't have a lot of bodies. We had a guy, Henry James, who's playing well, but that was his first game. He didn't know any plays. And then Willie Burton got hurt a little bit. So we hadn't had a full team, and we really had ran out of gas, I think, in the fourth quarter.
You certainly, as a team, made up for it against the Chicago Bulls the day after Christmas. Was that a season highlight?
It was. It was definitely. I mean, to come down here, for them to come down here, and which they've been winning every time they come down here, for us to win. And the Chicago's a team that you have to get through if you want to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Steve, last night in New Jersey, your team had a pile of assists in the fourth quarter. Did you see something new happening with the team last evening?
Well, they started posting me up, and most guards have a size advantage, and they started sending a double from the guy under the rim and leaving Dikembe and Christian. And for me, it was easy just to dumb it down to them and get a lot of easy layups, and it helps us out in the fourth quarter.
Steve, with your 6'8" height, naturally you're tempted to post up a lot. I know you did it against Allen Houston in New York, and it's something you do very well. However, is there a negative side to that? Does that sometimes throw off the offense of the team when you'll go into a post-up position a lot?
Well, not really, because our team, Dikembe is really not a post-up center. I mean, he does everything else well. He's scoring a lot this year, but he's really a defensive center that doesn't have great post moves yet, but he can definitely score. But I can't tell him that. He doesn't have great post moves. And he's been using me and Christian to really be the guys who post up.
Steve, you sense naturally, and your teammates sense, an improving Knicks team. How do you feel about tonight's game? You can't come in and coast on that 10-game home winning streak naturally. What do you feel you have to do to take this one?
Knicks is a very scary team. I think they're, 22-8, and they're not playing well. So anytime you can go 22-8 and not playing well and not got a chance to gel, they're a scary team in the future to play. And I think the one thing for us is going to be to stop Patrick Ewing and try to make other guys beat us.
Okay, Steve, sounds simple. Let's see if you can do it now, right?
Thanks. I hope so.
Thank you for the visit. We appreciate it, and best of luck tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve Smith looking to shake out of his shooting slump. Now let's go back to Mike Crispino.
Thanks very much, John. Thanks to Steve Smith as well, joining us on the MCS Cannon possibilities tonight during our MCS Cannon Knicks game night. And Smith, as he mentioned, doubly tough to defend because of his size at guard. And they're going to post him up. The Knicks will certainly have problems with Steve Smith. Clifton Brown of the New York Times will join me when we return. We'll talk about the NBA. Stay with us.
Starks digging and from the facial. You're watching MSG Network. We're all over it. January puts a new year of great sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network. Like New York Rangers hockey. Catch Mark and the Great One as they battle it out against the Capitals, the Penguins, and the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Knicks tip off some big matchups against the Bulls, the Pacers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features on MSG's comprehensive pregame show. Al Trotwick hosts MCS Cannon Knicks and Rangers game night. College hoops keeps things jamming on MSG. You'll see great matchups from the Big East, A10, and MAC conferences, plus 4 more Big St. John's games. Stay on top of all the St. John's team news with interviews, features, and highlights on the Red Storm Report. Take a hard look at today's fast-moving sports world and the people who make the headlines. Bob Page hosts Page One. Plus, you can always catch the latest scores, stories, highlights, and all the Tri-State Scholastic sports news on Coors Light MSG Sports Desk. It's all right at your fingertips. A great lineup of New Year sports action on MSG Network.
We're all over.
This is MSG Network.
For Ewing. Ewing with the spin. Ewing, yes.
Give him a tape for 720.
Now puts it front, save! Another save! Rick Ewing's unbelievable!
3, 2, fade up. Go.
A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden. MSG Network. We're all over it.
Ask not what your country can do for you. See it for yourself. This is Ranger Country.
Welcome back to our New York studios. Mike Crispino, joined by Clifton Brown of the New York Times, covering the NBA beat. Of course, we can just wrap it up right now and say the Bulls will win the NBA championship, and we can just leave the studio because it's all over, isn't it?
Well, we certainly want to see what's going to happen. Obviously, the Bulls are the overwhelming favorite, but it could be an interesting year before it's all over. I think it's going to be come playoff time. There are going to be some teams that give the Bulls maybe a harder time than they did last year getting through the playoffs.
I think the most interesting part of this NBA season so far, Clifton, has been the new players that have emerged coming out of the college ranks. I know a lot of people liked what Allen Iverson did, for instance, in college, didn't know what he'd do in the pros. He's been impressive, as has Kerry Kittles and Stephon Marbury and Ray Allen from the University of Connecticut. We're going to take a look at Iverson here with the Sixers, who killed the Knicks twice this year already. You got to like the kind of things he's done, although he turns it over a little too many times.
Absolutely. An exciting player. There are actually 5 rookies in the league that are having a tremendous impact. Iverson, as you mentioned, Stephon Marbury, Kerry Kittle, that we see here, Sharif Abdul-Rahim of Vancouver, and here we see Stephon Marbury of Minnesota going to the hole here against the Knicks in a great win that he led over New York. Before the draft started, a lot of people were saying this might just be an average draft, but these guys have already, in 2 months, shown that they can step right in the league. They're all starters. It's going to be a really interesting vote for Rookie of the Year. My personal favorite is Marbury, but again, all 5 of these guys look like they're going to have great careers.
Oh, you think about the teams that they have gone to. You have Iverson at Philadelphia and, of course, Kittles at New Jersey. I don't think they're going to impact the records of those teams as much. Might that help with someone like Marbury, who seems to have impacted his team's efforts, wins and losses-wise, more so?
Yeah, Marbury might be playing with the best team. Certainly Ray Allen's playing with a good team in Milwaukee, but Marbury's got both Kevin Garnett and Tom Gugliotta to work with, and that's obviously helping his game. Minnesota used to be a place where nobody wanted to come play,
Right.
but with these guys now, that's a franchise that's on the rise.
Now, we haven't seen Vancouver all that much and really don't get a chance to see them very much, but you like Sharif Abdul-Rahim quite a bit.
Great scorer, very fluid. A lot of people thought that Toronto was and should have picked him instead of Marcus Camby, and that might be something that Toronto's regretting right now. Sharif has really looked good.
One of the questions I had about Camby coming in is his physical presence. A great player, but he's already been injured, missed 14 games already for his Toronto team. Is that a concern for their management?
Absolutely. He's got that frail body, playing a lot of power forward, even some backup center. And, yeah, you have to wonder if Camby can take the pounding, especially until they get some more big guys to help him.
Now, why talk about the best teams in the league when we can talk about the worst teams in the league? The once proud Boston Celtics are now the worst, absolutely worst basketball team in the world of professional basketball, and that man is leading the way.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of people in Boston that wish ML Carr would give up 1 or 2 jobs that he has, either general manager or coach, if not both. As Charles Barkley said earlier in the year, the Celtics are like 2 players away from being good, but those 2 players are Larry Bird and Bill Russell. The Celtics right now, they're looking forward to the draft already. They have their own pick plus Dallas's pick. That's really the only way they'll get a quick fix if both of those picks are high. Maybe if they got someone like Tim Duncan and then added maybe a Keith Van Horn, you might see them make a quick move next year. But really, that's all they have to hope for. They have a lot of guys that other teams aren't interested in. It's really a bad situation.
And they're making a lot of money as well, right?
Absolutely. It's a bad situation up there in Boston. They're off to the worst start in their history. It's just such a different feeling up there than it used to be.
And a quick thought on Penny Hardaway. This Orlando Magic team suffering terribly with him out.
Right. They're going to have to hustle to get into the playoffs. Penny should be back probably sometime next week. But Orlando is really going to make a move just to get into the playoffs this year.
All right, thanks to Clifton Brown of the New York Times on the NBA beat with us tonight on the MCS Cannon Knicks game night. We'll be back, wrap it up with the starting lineups after this.
This Day in Knicks history is brought to you by Tommy Hilfiger, the classic American designer.
January 4th, 1994, the Knicks go down to the wire against Eastern Conference rivals, the Orlando Magic. John Starks heats up in the fourth quarter, scoring 15 points to help the Knicks hang on for the victory 100-95. Starks finishes the game with a career-high 39 on his way to his first ever NBA All-Star selection.
This Day in Knicks history has been brought to you by Tommy Hilfiger, the classic American designer.
The New York Yankees are champions. All the remarkable stories of the Yankees' 1996 season are showcased in the video Pinstripe Destiny, sponsored by MSG. You'll see clutch pitching, game-saving defense, and incredible heroics. To order for $19.95 plus shipping, use your credit card and call 1-800-225-2377. That's 1-800-225-2377. Also available where videos are sold.
Forget everything you know about cellular, because there's a totally new idea in personal communication. EasyMax from Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile, the first complete personal communications package. Call. It's included.
MCS Service and Canon Technology. Let us show you the possibilities.
The Modell's starting lineup for the Knicks tonight. Patrick Ewing at 21 points a game. Allen Houston, 13.5. Larry Johnson, 12 points a game. Chris Childs at 11. Charles Oakley, 10 points, 10 rebounds a game. And John Starks, of course, will come off the bench. He's averaging 13.5. That'll wrap it up for Knicks game night. We'll see you again at halftime.
MCS Cannon Knicks game night has been brought to you by MCS Cannon. Let us show you the possibilities. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who remind you fresh beer tastes better.
Introducing the New York Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now and get the only card that gives you savings, service, and great Knick discounts. Get the savings of no annual fee, this low introductory rate for purchases when you pay your bill over time, and American Express service. Plus, discounts at the Garden at restaurants and on Knicks merchandise. A free gift just for using the card. You can even win prizes like a skybox seat to a Knicks game. So apply for your Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now, because there's just one thing to say about a credit card this great. American Express helps Knicks fans do more.
The 18th Annual Toyotathon, an event unlike any other in recent history. At $209 a month, the rough and tough Tacoma grabs more than its share of attention. The crowd can barely hide its enthusiasm. And just like Tacoma with a choice of low APR or cash back, the full-size T100 stands tall. Dare miss it at your Toyota dealer, and you'll be left spinning too. The 18th Annual Toyotathon, Toyota's premier sales event.
The following is a presentation of the Madison Square Garden Network. MSG, we're all over it.
Last month at the Garden, the Hawks used their heads, but in the wrong way. The Knicks enjoyed every moment of their fourth quarter collapse, during which Atlanta missed 17 of 20 shots, going at one point 6 minutes without a point. The Knicks defense was rock solid, and their offense was good enough to turn a one-point game into a 6-point win. But make no mistake, Dikembe and company are better than that, and both teams know it. Tonight, we take you to the Omni in Atlanta, GA, where Patrick Ewing and the Knicks have memories of a thrilling win last year. One problem, this year, it's where the Hawks have won 10 straight. Coming up, Hawks, Knicks, next. In their golden anniversary season, MSG is the network of the Knicks. And we welcome you live to the city that played host to the Centennial Olympic Games, Atlanta, Georgia, and the Omni. It's the second of 4 meetings this season between the Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. New York has won 13 of 15, but can't crack a dent in the lead that the Miami Heat hold in the Atlantic Division. 22-8, coming off one of the best months in franchise history. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Hawks, in spite of numerous injuries, are doing well in the Central Division at 17-11. They've won 7 of their last 10. Still, they can't keep pace. Can anybody? With the Chicago Bulls. Good evening, everybody. I'm Al Trautwig in for Marv Albert, of course, and John Andres, as the Knicks continue to go through this month of January, if they continue to get the play of Patrick Ewing that they've gotten recently, they are going to be just fine.
Yes, he has stepped up big. He's on a good roll now. And in that game against Washington the other night, Patrick Ewing showed it isn't just scoring that makes him so tough. It's the many other things he brings to the Knicks. The Washington Bullets could not deal with Ewing, and when the game started, George Murasan at 7'7" couldn't deal with that slam dunk that Patrick greeted him with. Then it's Murasan's substitution was Lorenzo Williams. He couldn't deal with Patrick as he drove that ball to a hoop and a three-point play. But it was the shot blocking, the internal defense of Ewing on Weber, on Juwan Howard at the end of the game that really showed how tough he was on those Bullets. 22 points, 7 of 19 from the field, perfect from the foul line. His rebounding, his shot blocks were all there. Very strong evidence that game was of why Ewing is the leading vote getter at the center position for the Eastern Conference All-Star team.
And of course, Ewing versus Dikembe Mutombo is one of the attractive things about tonight's game. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Hawks will try and crack 90 points, something that Knick opponents haven't been able to do lately. And in their visit to Madison Square Garden in late December, the question was it the Knick defense, or was it just that the Hawks were that bad for so long in that fourth quarter?
Oh, the fourth quarter woes that Atlanta has had lately have been awful. Lately meaning their last game in last year. This was the highlight of the fourth quarter, that Mutombo dunk for a 1-point difference in the teams. Then the problems began. Leitner couldn't hit. Nothing he threw up went in the basket. Bookie Blaylock couldn't do anything. Leitner missing tips around the basket was so difficult. Steve Smith couldn't do a thing. And then with 0.6 of a second left, Leitner finally made a field goal. Look at the fourth quarters. Last game on December 23rd, 13 total points, 3 of 20 from the field. 6:47 of the fourth quarter, nothing, no field goals. A year ago, same thing here in the Omni, 10 points. 4 of 19 in the fourth quarter. 8 minutes and 20 seconds without a field goal for Atlanta in the fourth quarter. Lenny Wilkins is pleading with his team. We've got to play 48 minutes against the Knicks. We can't do this again.
But, you know, here at the Omni, the Hawks have won 10 in a row, and the statement game in that stretch has been a big victory over the Chicago Bulls. Expected sellout tonight. Back for the tip and lineups in a moment.
The following is a presentation of the Madison Square Garden Network. MSG, we're all over it.
Taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
American Express, how can I help you?
How can I help you?
Oh, sure. Of course we help small businesses.
Why don't we start with your cash flow?
Okay, we can arrange a line of credit for you.
We can take care of that.
It'll give you more flexibility.
We actually have several cards to help you manage expenses better.
Maybe our credit card will work for you.
I'll set up a meeting for you with one of our CPAs.
Together we can sort this tax situation out. We can always make adjustments when your situation changes.
Call American Express at 1-800-SUCCESS to help your small business do more.
My, it's bright out there, which means we've landed at Delta's Frankfurt terminal, one of the brightest terminals in the world. When I say bright, I don't mean lighting, I mean the Delta Redcoats.
This way on the left-hand side. Nach links komt zum GTD 1.
Excuse me, currency exchange?
Excuse me, where's the bathroom, please?
See the little man on that door over there?
These Delta Redcoats know everything. Excuse me, low-fat Wiener Schnitzel?
Third restaurant down the hall.
Is it brilliant in here or what?
Here he comes now. Coach, you seemed a little upset out there.
My guys are busting their butts out there. And you people are sitting on yours, watching the game on this pathetic beauty little screen. Get a Mitsubishi.
Now when nobody beats the whiz. Buy any Mitsubishi big screen, VCR, audio, or home theater system and pay nothing for 18 months.
0 down, 0 payment, 0 interest, 0 accrued interest. Now get out there and go big!
And nobody beats the whiz Total Entertainment Centers.
Want to get your feet wet on the internet? AT&T makes it easy to catch the wave. Every day, AT&T helps thousands of businesses, big and small, search for information, send email, and set up websites where they can do business with their customers. So whether you're a little kahuna or a big kahuna, grab your board and hop on. AT&T. It's going to be a great ride.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By the American Express card. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. By Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps. And by Nobody Beats the Whiz Home Entertainment Centers.
Knicks basketball for a Saturday night from Atlanta and the Omni in Georgia. Some empty seats are seen, but it is expected to be a sellout tonight, and closed captioning is brought to you by Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the best of health. And now it's time to meet the lineups for the Knicks and the Hawks.
Charles Oakley. The guard, 6'6" from Tennessee, number 20, Allen Houston. Guard, 6'3" from Boise State, number 1, Chris Childs. On the end, Chris Jensen, Eric Lechner. The trainer, Mike Saunders. Assistant coaches, Don Chaney, Brendan Malone, Tom Thibodeau. And head coach for the Knicks, Jeff Van Gundy. Hawks fans, are you ready for some basketball? Let's get ready for the Hawks starting lineup. And forward, 6'8" from St. Mary's, Texas. Let's welcome number 42, Henry James. And forward, 6'11" from Duke University, number 32, Christian Leitner. Center, 7'2" from Georgetown. Number 55, Dikembe Mutombo. At guard, 6'8" from Michigan State. Number 8, Steve Smith. And at guard, 6'1" from Oklahoma. Number 10, Mookie Blaylock.
Lenny Wilkins, the only man on the top 10 coaches list of all time and the best 50 players of all 50 years of NBA history. He's guiding the Atlanta Hawks. Their record is 17-11, coming off a 10-point win last night at the Meadowlands in New Jersey over the Nets. A game in which John Calipari thought the Nets were simply out-hustled, a game they should have had. Meanwhile, John Andres spoke to Steve Smith, always dangerous inside and outside. His height at his position is a difficult thing for so many teams to deal with. He asked him what he thought about the Knicks coming into this game.
Knicks is a very scary team. I think they're, what are they, 22-8, and they're not playing well. So anytime you can go 22-8 and not playing well and not got a chance to gel, they're a scary team in the future to play. And I think the one thing for us is going to be to stop Patrick Ewing and try to make other guys beat us.
John, who told him the Knicks aren't playing well?
Well, he's been reading some New York papers lately, I think, Al. You know, sometimes the press tends to take a tough position. Maybe he's a subscriber. Meanwhile, the problem for the Hawks, I think, in this game is some recent history, back-to-back game situations. The first game this year of the back-to-backs, they're 7-1. The second game, and they played last night, as we know, in New Jersey, they're 1-6. So they have to generate some high energy, particularly with Ken Norman, Willie Burton, Tyrone Corbin, and Alan Henderson, all on the injured list, all very capable players in varying degrees and people who have been very important to this Atlanta franchise.
Of course, one thing that the Atlanta Hawks will rely on is the good feeling they get here at home, especially when they get the rare sellout. So many of the players talked about the noise and the energy they got in the victory over the Chicago Bulls based simply on the crowd, because the Hawks do not sell out. But tonight it looks as though the Omni will be near full, as Christian Laettner, who scored 37 points in that big win over Michael Jordan and the Bulls, takes to the floor. Steve Smith out there. Charles Oakley did a fabulous job on him as he lines up next to Larry Johnson of the Knicks. It's been 10 straight wins for the Atlanta Hawks here. Dan Crawford, Derek Stafford, and Jim Kinsey are the officials assigned by the NBA.
And as you mentioned, Al, the last time the Hawks played here, the day after Christmas, they creamed the Chicago Bulls, ending their 8-game winning streak.
And then they proceeded to go out and lose to the Bullets and drive Lenny Wilkens a little bit crazy again. So it's Mookie Blaylock with Chris Childs. Laettner is guarded by Oakley. It's Dikembe Mutombo with Patrick Ewing, Allen Houston, and Steve Smith. Smith gets free, and Ewing grabs the miss.
Another terrific matchup shaping up now with Mookie Blaylock and Chris Childs.
Ewing sets it up outside as the Knicks work it around the perimeter. They want to go to Larry Johnson, and they get it to him. He backs in on Steve Smith. Dikembe Mutombo grabs the first of what should be many rebounds for his night. Smith on the double team. Almost worked for the Knicks.
Hawks don't go to Mutombo that much, so Ewing can be a little free with his double teaming, and his speed also getting back is fine.
Mookie's first step around Chris Childs, and he blew the layup. Childs for Johnson. And now Allen Houston. Ewing goes up strong, followed by Johnson. He tried to find Ewing, and Laettner stepped in.
Well, that's an example of Larry Johnson overcompensating to be unselfish. I mean, he was in position to get a shot up and draw a foul, but he looked for Patrick Ewing instead.
May have heard Knicks trainer Mike Saunders working the vocal cords there from 4 or 5 feet away. Another Atlanta miss, and Oakley is there to grab the rebound. Still scoreless, and we've played almost 2 minutes. Another clang job, and it's over the top of the backboard, and it will be Hawks ball.
Those rims, at least the one at this end that the Knicks are shooting at, seem very tight. That's where you're getting that clang sound. I mean, they really seem tight.
Number 42 for Atlanta is Henry James. He's been around 5 different teams in the NBA, and one of the players that the Hawks have had to rely on because of their injury situation.
Clear out situation for Laettner, and one of his many moves at 6'11", he has the skills to put the ball on the floor, to hit the perimeter jump shot as he continues to emerge as a force. And boy, has his career taken a much better turn here in Atlanta now that he's not the starting center as he was in Minnesota.
Foul on Oakley was his first. 9:40 to go in the first quarter. We're still waiting for somebody to score. Another miss. Another Ewing rebound. Atlanta's missed 3 layups.
They have been under some pressure, though.
Oakley has the ball stripped by Laettner. He looked up just for a split second.
See how comfortable Leitner is handling the basketball. Now dribbling with the left hand, protecting the ball.
Leitner finally breaks the ice. The former star at Duke, making a name for himself now finally here in Atlanta. Houston works free.
Looked like Steve Smith guarding Houston was more sensitive to what Ewing was doing.
And the Hawks catch the Knicks in transition. Giles almost has it taken away. The Knicks are better than the Hawks in just about every category. Shooting, rebounds, passing, steals, even equal to them in block shots. But these two teams are very similar with their defensive numbers. Larry Johnson dribbled the ball off his foot. Third turnover by the Knicks. Blaylock draws the foul on the drive. Whatever the Knicks are trying to do on offense, it's not developing quick enough. It's a little bit of a sluggish beginning.
Well, here's Blaylock turning up the speed by Childs as he goes in on that drive to draw the foul. Blaylock comes off a solid game last night against New Jersey. 22 points, 8 out of 19 from the field. He also had 10 rebounds in that game, 5 of them offensive. So the Knicks have got to watch for Blaylock going to the boards.
Patrick Ewing, always wary of the wet spots on the floor, actually gets the job done himself. Blaylock to the line in his 8th year out of Oklahoma, averaging 18 points a game. Leitner leads the Hawks in that category at almost 19 points a game. So he misses on the free throw attempts, and so far the guys are not getting a clear look at the rim. Here's Childs guarded by Blaylock. They clear for Ewing. He bangs again on Mutombo. Oakley pushed out of the way by James. Leitner's got it for Atlanta.
Mutombo did a good job making it difficult for Ewing to get a good look at the basket.
Blaylock very quick, poked away by Childs from behind, saved in the corner by Mutombo. Blaylock a threat from out there, so you've got to play up on it. 4 on the 24. They tried to work the give and go. It didn't work. Oakley the no-look. Johnson took the extra dribble. I thought it would cost him, but he got the layup, and we're tied at 4.
Very nice delivery by Charles Oakley with that, as you said, Al, no look. He looked left and passed right.
Mutombo spins on Ewing with a huge move.
Well, you never saw that happen in Denver, or you did rarely, because the Denver Nuggets didn't go to Mutombo as an offensive force. In Atlanta, he's a much happier player as he's a much greater participant in their offense.
7 to go in the first. Oakley sets the high screen. Now Johnson with 9 on the 24. And Leitner is called for the push. We've got a timeout. Things a little slow to develop here in Atlanta. Atlanta 6, Knicks 4.
Timeout Atlanta.
The Knicks battle the Bucks after MCS Cannon game night tomorrow night on MSG. This is MSG Network. We're all over it.
A wide shot live.
For Ewing. Ewing with the spin. Ewing, yes.
Give him a tape for 720 is what they're going to do.
Now puts it, but save! Another save! Richter is unbelievable!
Here's the home run. Draw 5, no shot, no push. 3, 2, straight up. Go.
A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden.
Let's be extra, dude.
He pumped, he shot, he hit,
And this one is gone! Mark Messier! MSG Network. We're all over it. Hey, Knicks fans, the Knicks 50th Anniversary Celebration book can now be yours. This publication features the spectacular photographs of famed garden photographer George Kalinsky and truly captures the drama, excitement, and emotion of the storied Knickerbocker franchise. To order your very own 50th Anniversary book, send check or money order for $44 to the Knicks 50th Anniversary book, 2 Penn Plaza, New York, New York, 10121. Attention, Debbie.
If you're a true Knicks fan, get yours today.
Slow starting by both teams from the field with 6:49 left in the first quarter. How about the Dikembe Mutombo's move here on Patrick Ewing? Patrick reached and paid the price as Mutombo sailed along the baseline for that slam dunk. In their 11 regular season meetings, Mutombo now in his 6th year, first 5 with the Denver Nuggets. Ewing dominating in the scoring department, pretty equal in the rebounding and block shot department, and Ewing has enjoyed 8 wins. Whereas Mutombo only 3 in their meetings.
As Childs runs the Knicks offense, 6:40 to go in the opening quarter. Now it's Ewing and the Knicks clear out. Ewing kicks it out for Childs. Looks for Oakley. And it's Blaylock quick to the ball. This time the Knicks get back. Blaylock beats Houston. Mookie Blaylock with a hesitation dribble that froze Allen Houston. And it's 8-4. One of the topics brought up in the timeout in the Knicks huddle was the Knicks transition defense, so it's on their mind as Houston hits his second long-range jump shot.
What Allen Houston is doing so much better these days in combination with his teammates is working off the picks at the right moment so Childs, as he did then, can get him the ball at the right time for the jump shot. It's all timing with Houston and his teammates.
Foul on Houston, his first. 13th foul on the Knicks. Houston's point totals lately have been averaging up near 15, 16 points a game as he continues to find his spot in the Knicks offense. Oakley pulls down the rebound. Almost intercepted by Blaylock, who's all over the floor. Childs wants Ewing. He's got his man.
And he clears out and lets Ewing operate.
Offense! Patrick Ewing slapped Dikembe Mutombo's hand away, and now Ewing's going to get a technical foul if he's not careful. There it is. You heard Patrick Ewing yell out offensive foul, and then he went at the official in a big way.
Someone has got to calm Ewing down. Chris Childs tries to.
And the technical falls taken by Steve Smith.
Let's take a look at Ewing and this offensive foul that was called on him. Well, he waved. It looked to me, Al, like he waved at Mutombo, but really didn't contact him.
Well, I thought there was contact there, John. Whether it is warranted as an offensive foul, I don't know. I mean, considering how they're banging bodies, that's pretty light contact. But I thought he did definitely take a swipe and make contact with Mutombo's left arm.
Very tight call.
Shot from outside. That's a three-point shot by Henry James.
James now 2 of 3 from the field.
Larry Johnson giving the shot. Mutombo grabs the rebound. It's an 8-2 Atlanta run. The one thing that will change this game are the benches of the two teams. With the injuries, Atlanta's bench just can't touch the Knicks. Kenny Wilkins, the all-time winningest coach in NBA history. And there you see Willie Burton, torn calf muscle. Alan Henderson, who's just recovering now from an attack of viral pancreatitis. Meanwhile, Kenny Norman, who's a very versatile player for Atlanta, is in Chicago. Both his mother and grandmother are very ill at the same time. He's missed now 7 games. Johnson tangled up by Leitner. Leitner's really giving Larry Johnson problems.
Childs is doing a good job getting that ball to Larry Johnson, who finds Ewing open with a terrific pass.
I can appreciate Mutombo wanting to help out, but you can't leave Patrick open from 10 feet like that, completely unattended. It's 12-8. Henry James, grabbed by Oakley. Up the floor is Johnson, but look at the Hawks. So quick to get back, and Johnson's pass for Houston is off his hands.
That's why they're one of the better defensive teams in the NBA under Lenny Wilkens' guidance. Defensive transition is key to good defense.
And that Hawk defense is helping the Knicks turn the ball over. They've committed already 5 turnovers, Johnny Hoops, and that is not a total that will please the coach.
Mutombo came up to set the pick for his teammate Leitner and just kept moving and finally moved his shoulder into the defensive man, and you just cannot move your body into the defender as you set a pick. As Mutombo will work his way up to Oakley, leaning, and then he's called for a foul.
He was a man in motion. Ewing very low on Mutombo. Jump hook. John, I think in the last few weeks we have seen more versatility from Patrick Ewing, especially going at the basket in a lot of different ways, fronting the hoop.
What we're seeing now, too, Al, early in this game is Ewing is getting the ball.
Leitner tangled up. He got way too far underneath the basket. Ewing grabbed the rebound, nicks up the floor. Larry Johnson. Oakley to the deck. He's slow to get up. Meanwhile, at the other end, Henry James for 3. Henry James hits from long range, and the Hawks lead is 5. His second three-pointer, and the Knicks will call timeout. 2:49 to go in the opening quarter.
Alonzo Mourning, 21 points per game, loves McDonald's French fries. Hey! Reggie Miller, threat from the outside, loves McDonald's French fries. Whoa! Patrick Ewing dominates the post, loves McDonald's French fries. Yow! Scottie Pippen, over 1,500 career steals. Uh-oh. And a great first step, McDonald's, America's favorite fries.
Go get 'em.
E420.
Easily, or move money from one account to another like this. Even get stock quotes for free. So I'm in control of my finances anyway. And it's all safely done on Citibank's private network.
Citibank's free PC banking service. It's also available for small businesses.
So why go to the bank when the bank can come to you?
Call now, 1-800-321-CITI.
Remember, when you're having good times with good friends, to drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser.
And tonight's broadcast via MSG is being seen in Australia on Fox, TV Azteca in Mexico, Tele Once in Puerto Rico, Sports Mania, how about the name of that network, in Spain, and then on Star in Great Britain and in Hong Kong. So the legend of Johnny Hoops is now reaching around the world. John, can you speak enough languages to say hello to everyone appropriately? I mean, I can do good day, mate, but you'll have to do all the other ones.
Huh? How about buenos dias?
That'll work. To the game we go, counting down 2.5 minutes in the opening quarter. Patrick Ewing rolls it off, and Leitner grabs the rebound. The Knicks are doing the job on the boards. 10-6, they lead it. Leitner got great position for that one. It's Blaylock as John Starks steps up from the Knicks bench. John has been so consistent with his contribution and his numbers, and Buck Williams also about to enter the game. On the line, it will be Nick Ball. Good defensive sequence by New York. And there you see Starks entering the game.
Number 3, John Starks.
Starks is in. Buck Williams will have to wait. So Buck will have to take a seat. 2 minutes to go in the first. Childs over Blaylock. Oakley creates some problems and draws the foul.
What a monster rebound by Oakley. He put on a performance in New York that drew such attention from the coaching staff and his teammates. And it was plays like this. That ball belonged to Mutombo, but Ewing wouldn't allow it. I mean, Oakley would not allow it.
You know, right before he gets the rebound, John, you say, oh, he's boxed out by 2 guys. No way, no shot. And somehow he comes up with the ball and draws the foul. Starks. Oh, what a beautiful shot. A high arcing shot. And John Starks, right off the Knicks bench, gets involved. So it's 15-12 Atlanta. Laylock for a cutting Steve Smith. He's one-on-one against Starks, and he's got a big height advantage. Smith got position, but he's met by a trio of defenders, and now in the backcourt, Chris Childs draws a foul. Is he all right?
He was tripped and went down hard.
Billy checks all the body parts, and it looks as though he's all right. Looked at his arm, checked his elbow.
Had a couple of big forwards there to help him up. Larry Johnson and Charles Oakley. Steve Smith going in for what appeared to be an easy shot. However, the good second effort by the Knicks defenders denied him a good look, and then Childs tripped coming up court. Goes to the foul line now.
Looking at where he's rubbing his arms, it looks as though he went hard to the floor, either on a wrist or it could have even been a hip. It's so hard to tell. Meanwhile, it was the second foul on Dikembe Mutombo. And he gets it to fall.
Al, I'd like to take a moment to make a note here of Mike Saunders' son, Jeffrey. Mike asked us to wish Jeffrey the best. He's home with the chicken pox, and we hope he bounces back quickly. Young guy that he is, I'm sure he will.
John, it's against network policy. We're not going to allow you to do that.
Okay, Al.
Hey, Jeff, get better. 15-14, the Knicks have scored 4 straight. A little mini run. Later, what a pass by Henry James. And the Hawks are just missing layup after layup after layup. Big time contact, loose ball. Larry Johnson's got it, but his heel was on the line. So it'll belong to Atlanta.
Childs goes down. Henry James in pursuit of that basketball.
Childs taking a beating here in the opening quarter. We're in the final minute. 6th Knick turnover. Laker. Stop now. The loose ball starts. And bodies are all over the place. It'll be a jump ball.
Well, the Knicks have brought their aggressiveness here to the Omni right away. You can see the reaction of everyone when there's a loose basketball. Oakley and Starks. Buck Williams always in there. Starks goes flying out of that heap. Then Charles Oakley's down there trying to get his hands on that ball. And Buck Williams comes over.
Some new faces on the court for the Atlanta Hawks. Number 5 is Eldridge Rakasner. And the man involved in that scrum on the floor, number 28, Ivano Newbill. One-time standout right here in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. Buck Williams grabs the ball, and Jeff Van Gundy motions for the Knicks to get it up the floor. Childs guarded by Rakasner. He pulls up for the 3, and he rolls it in. Big shot by Chris Childs, and the Knicks have taken the lead. It's a 7-0 New York run.
What?
The Knicks, barring an offensive rebound by Atlanta, will get the ball for about 3 seconds with the differential. Laylock. Perfect. It's a 3. Atlanta back in front. Childs on the run. And he's fouled in midair by Henry James. Oh, is Chris Childs up there in the air. It's an offensive foul.
They got Chris Childs on a kick, and he can't believe the call. I believe the official indicated that he kicked in the air as he went up for that shot. Boy, he got high up, too. Take another look at Chris Childs going up in the air. See that right foot going at the defender. Yes.
It is the same official that called the offensive foul that got Patrick Ewing a technical. Childs is pulled for the final seconds for Charlie Ward. Beautiful steal by Larry Johnson, blocking Henry James, and so the quarter is done. Herky-jerky to say the least. Offensively, both teams had their problems. Atlanta 18, Knicks 17.
Precious Hotline, what's your problem? We're stuck with skunky beer. So it's not Budweiser? No. Remain calm, sir. We're on our way. Next time, look for this.
New Born on Dating from Budweiser, because fresh beer tastes better.
Precious Hotline. Could we order some Chinese?
Now, let me get this straight. What you're saying is all those Delta Sky miles I'm accumulating
will never expire. Just fly with us once every 3 years.
So 10 years from now, you're still good. Half a century passes.
Still good.
Oh, I'm 104 and I need a vacation.
Have you flown with us once every 3 years?
Absolutely.
Hawaii's nice.
Your daughter has an American Express student card. She'll be able to get great deals on flights home.
It gives you more choices.
With that card, you can extend the payment. It's very flexible.
You're going to get a reward point for every dollar you spend.
Our senior member card has a lower fee.
It gives you some more options.
I'm sure we've got a card that'll work for you.
Whoever you are, American Express helps you do more.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, American Express helps you do more. By Foot Locker, where it all begins. And by Toyota. I love what you do for me. Toyota.
The best in high school basketball returned to Madison Square Garden in the second annual Sprite Super 6 High School Basketball Classic on Saturday, January 11th. The event will feature the top players and teams from New Jersey against their New York rivals. The triple header tips off at 11 a.m. and features national powerhouses such as New Jersey's St. Anthony's, I believe is ranked #1 in the country right now, and St. Patrick's, and New York's Christ the King High School and St. Raymond's. Tickets are on sale now at the Garden box office and all Ticketmaster locations.
On we go here at the Omni. Al Trautwig in for Marv Albert along with John Andres. Knicks trail by a point in the opening moments of the second quarter. Similar shooting for both teams. Knicks getting it done in a rebounding way, out-rebounding Atlanta 14-6. Oakley saves it. He's on the end line. Jeff Van Gundy is irate that a Knick did not receive the benefit of a foul call before. Oakley had to save that. It is the 8th turnover by the Knicks. We've got a long way to go. Playlock, great pass. Runs into Buck Williams and draws the foul.
Well, Buck Williams did his job after Oakley went for the steal. He would not allow Leitner the look like easy layup. Little delayed pick and roll play. Buck Williams comes over to put the wood, so to speak, to this man. The story was after that 37-point performance by Leitner against the Chicago Bulls that Dennis Rodman could not deal with Leitner. Drove him crazy. Leitner at 6'11", when he's hitting the jump shots and throwing the variety that he's capable of doing with his ability to put the ball on the floor, can be super tough.
Well, so far it's been a similar looking Atlanta team that we saw at the Garden, a team that gets position, gets shots, and then just can't finish the shots. Foul underneath as the Knicks work it down low quickly.
Well,
Leitner's called his second. Sorry, John.
Excuse me, Al. In defensive transition, the Hawks a little slow as the 3 Knicks big men, led by Oakley, combine to get Buck Williams to the foul line.
So Buck Williams coming off another double-double, solid performance, 10 points, 10 rebounds. And John, the one thing that Buck's consistent play has done is remove Herb Williams from the picture. I mean, Herb just doesn't get minutes at all anymore.
which doesn't diminish his value because it's nice to know that he's there and capable. But Buck Williams has the unique ability at 6'8" to back up 7-footers like Ewing on defense and not get hurt.
Blaylock guarded by Charlie Ward, and he pulls up for a long shot from the corner that is grabbed by John Starks. This time Atlanta does get back in defense. Starks. It's not a John Starks kind of shot. A floater behind the backboard, actually, when he released it. Atlanta quick up the floor. Eldridge Rakasnik. James. Oh, Henry James, an X factor. Mr. Offense so far for Atlanta. He's got 10 and leads them in scoring. How do you figure it? Back from France, the CBA, 5 different teams. Lenny Wilkins calls on a guy whose name he knew from his coaching days in Cleveland. We saw Henry James briefly, brought him in here, and James, as you saw from the beginning, in a starting role.
Spreading the offense out a lot.
5 on the 24. Hot shot by Charlie Ward.
Perhaps he should do it more. That was beautifully done, so quickly executed.
I do not think I would have wanted to watch the Sugar Bowl in the presence of Charlie. That was probably an ugly scene.
I'll be throwing popcorn all over the place now, huh?
At least. Rookie Blaylock, so tough. It looked as though he took a turn with every member of the Knicks team for a moment dealing with him, and he got all the way to the basket. 24-20 Atlanta. Larry Johnson looks for Ward, gets it off, followed by Buck Williams, and it rolls off the rim. What a shot by Charlie Ward off a good look from Larry Johnson. Second foul on Mookie Blaylock.
Take another look at this play. Charlie getting the ball in a most difficult position and almost makes an amazing shot, but as usual, Buck Williams right there to scoop up the offensive rebound.
Buck Williams hits the first, and John Wallace back into the mix. Get some first half minutes here in place of Larry Johnson. We should point out that Dante Jones, one of the Knicks first-round draft picks, who has not seen game action this year, was sent home by Jeff Van Gundy. The Knicks statement was that he violated team rules. So Dante Jones not with the team. Starks tightropes it along the sideline. Pulls it up for 3, and it's out of bounds off of Newbill, so it will be Knick ball.
Giving John Starks a chance to take a practice shot, which he made.
20-second timeout, New York.
So off the 20. The Knicks going no further to explain what Dante Jones did. But it's interesting that there have been moments with John Wallace and now Dante Jones. Jeff Van Gundy continuing to exert authority over the new young Knicks.
Speaking of Wallace, he comes off a terrific game the other day against the Bullets. He got 16 minutes or 18 minutes of playing time, had 9 points, a couple of field goals, 5 out of 6 from the line, 6 rebounds and a steal. With more play of late, Wallace is becoming more of a factor for Jeff Van Gundy and Jeff's plans. In our last game at the Garden, Knicks' last game at the Garden, Jeff Van Gundy had said that Wallace is very much in his plans, but he had been enjoying or preferring to go with an 8-man rotation, and that put Wallace out of the picture. But now, as he extends a little bit more, why Wallace is getting some time.
Knicks work it around the perimeter and clear it out for John Wallace. He goes right at Leitner, gets his own rebound. Wallace up for the putback and draws the foul. Lots of applause from the Knicks bench as the Knicks go right to John Wallace, calling his number. And with his hustle, he'll go to the free throw line for 2.
Wallace always seems to come out of play around the basket with a positive, whether it be a field goal or drawing the foul. But he's very difficult to shut down. Wallace
gets it to fall. This is the 10th game he has seen action in, and only the 7th and 8th free throws of his NBA career. Saved by Buck Williams. Nice save. Starks with a full head of steam. Beautiful! Oh, Starks started from midcourt, and by the time he got the ball, he was flying. Second foul on Ivano Nubil.
Well, after the missed shot, John Starks, with one dribble, got to the rim. That looked like the slam dunk contest. The way he was flying.
John fails to complete the three-point play. Charlie Ward hustled to try and get it back, but it will be Atlanta ball. Tied at 24 with just under 9 minutes to go in the first half. Kasner guarded by Ward.
Steve Smith being battled by John Starks. Smith trying to post him up.
Oakley comes up with a steal as Leitner got a little careless. And you see why Leitner presents such a problem for Oakley. He sets up way outside and has the ability to use his speed. Wallace, soft touch. He's got 4 points.
Well, what you mentioned, Al, before the shallow bench that the Hawks have, whereas the Knicks now go to their bench and are getting very good play.
Second, Wallace has 3. He missed the second of the 2 free throws. Leitner. Oakley's got to back off just a bit, that far outside on Leitner. And he hits the jump shot. He's got 6. Henry James leads Atlanta with 10. The Knicks with a much more well-balanced attack. Chris Childs leads them in scoring with 5. Fans get into it. Buck Williams up strong for the dunk. Tying the game at 26 again.
Boy, Starks has come into this game and had a major impact here in the first half from the moment he got on the court.
It is the Knicks up by 2 to make a correction, 28-26.
Here the Hawks will demonstrate one of the latest events.
Look out. Scott Brooks lands on our left. Nice ball.
You're watching MSG Network. We're all over it.
The Knicks battle the Bucks after MCS Cannon game night tomorrow night on MSG.
She's crossed rivers and mountains, deserts and plains. It's been a long journey, but at last she's found her way here. Producer Kenneth Feld presents Walt Disney's World on Ice, the spirit of Pocahontas. Come see Pocahontas, John Smith, and all their friends as the adventure, excitement, and magic continue live on ice.
Coming to Madison Square Garden, January 15th through 19th. Buy your tickets now at the box office and Ticketmaster.
When I was a kid, I watched them build this bridge. I used to take the double R to school. I bagged groceries and ran elevators in New York City to pay for my tuition. No one in my family had ever gone to college before, so it was a pretty big deal when I graduated from St. John's. I've accomplished a lot since then. I wouldn't be where I am, I wouldn't be who I am without the things I learned at St. John's.
Well, the Knicks go to the bench. Good things happening now. The Knicks enjoying an 8-2 run. John Wallace working in the low post. Clear out for him. No problem for John Wallace on Henry James. How about John Starks getting the ball inside perfectly to Buck Williams for that slam dunk. Buck had a bunch of them in Washington the other night.
The Knicks bench outscoring Atlanta's 13-0. Mutombo struggles to get the rebound, and now Oakley picks his pocket. Ward dives on it for Charlie. Getting involved physically, and he has no problem with that, especially when it comes to diving on the ground. Oakley and Charlie Ward tying up to Kembe Mutombo, and it will be a jump.
Loose basketball on the floor.
Right about here, John, I think he says, you know what, he looks like Danny Werfel. I'm going to get him.
Well, credit Mutombo for going down, too, the big fellow. At 7 feet, going down and getting that ball, actually make that 7-2.
So it's Mutombo and Ward.
Ward's competing. Look at him right up there.
Steve Smith grabs the tip. Guarded by Starks. Wallace back and forth between him and James. Oakley grabs the rebound. Thought about going long distance, but instead hands it off for Ward. Starks guarded by the taller Steve Smith. Kazner and Charlie Ward are just about a wash height-wise. John Wallace. And now Oakley. Leitner gives him the shot, and Oakley makes him pay for it. Charles Oakley's points going nicely with his 7 rebounds already in the game. The Knicks out rebounding Atlanta 2-1, John, 20-10 in the rebounding department. Kazner. Smith and Starks really going at it. Starks down, and Steve Smith hits the shot anyway.
Well, Smith will probably be the main focus of their offense now, being guarded by the shorter John Starks.
Starks sees Wallace. He got met in the air by Mutombo, and a foul as Wallace stayed with it. He's getting a little physical. Watch Starks and Smith.
Smith trailing, or being trailed by John Starks. Starks going through every opportunity he can, driven to the floor by the aggressive Smith. Boy, that could have been an offensive foul. Starks does react well and trying to draw fouls, but it looked like Smith really got him. But there was no call on the play. At the other end, Mutombo was rocked by John Wallace. Mutombo with a strong rebound.
Wallace's first personal foul, and they do the wet spot cleanup. What a sequence between Steve Smith and John Starks. Smith is a little frustrated. He has started slowly in the shooting department, 1 of 6.
Well, he's looking for that basketball.
Starks down again. And Dikembe Mutombo ties this game. It is the 4th tie in this first half.
Starks is really banging hard with Smith.
And now he shoves Smith off, wants to make him pay at this end of the floor. Blaylock's got it. Up the floor goes Smith. Starks behind him. And Smith hits the layup.
Smith is holding his poise well. Looks like John's a little excited here. Sometimes it lifts John's game. Sometimes it doesn't. But he gets very, very excited.
We'll see which way this goes. This duel between Starks and Smith. It's a 6-0 Atlanta run.
So, what'd you get? Everything. 2 Pentium 133s in parallel, 72 megs RAM, 2 gig AV hard drive, CD recorder, full motion MPEG hardware, 2 21-inch monitors, accelerator board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What can I do for you?
2 copies, please.
Yesterday, Evelyn Hartwell fulfilled a dream big enough to change her life, small enough to hold in her hand. She got the keys to her first home.
Thank you.
By the way, congratulations.
For a free guide that can help you get a home of your own, call the Fannie Mae Foundation. We're showing America a new way home.
When America needs a new weapon in the war against terrorism, only one man has the right tools for the job. Jackie Chan's First Strike. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, January 10th.
As usual, John Starks is playing very hard at both ends of the court. Ball goes inside to Mutombo for what looked like an easy play, but look what preceded it. Crash bang for John Starks as he tries to get through a pick, only it was the 7-2 Mutombo. Starks then responds with that jump shot at the other end. Steve Smith gets the ball in transition, and he goes in for 2 points as they got the ball up quickly, and those two guys are going at it again.
Starks versus Smith. Both teams' shooting has improved. Jeff Van Gundy would not want to see this duel take over the game. Now, the Knicks have been good in the turnover department in this quarter, but they commit their second with the rejection on Blaylock. What a huge block by Starks. Back comes Childs. Big sequence for the Knicks.
Well, Starks threw the ball away, couldn't stand it, took off on defense and turned it in his favor.
Starks guarding Smith now. He'll do everything to stop him. He hits the deck for a third time. Ewing looks up the floor. Starks has it, gives it to Wallace, hands it off for Buck Williams. He's rejected. And Dikembe shakes his hand and says, don't even think about it. He's been doing that a lot this season. Exciting blocks, one per team. Starks and then Mutombo. Starks has called for his first personal foul as John Wallace leaves and Allen Houston returns.
Mookie Blaylock going up for what he thought was an easy layup, but Starks, who had given him the ball at the other end, slaps it away successfully.
Blaylock for three.
Blaylock has made 4 3-point shots in each of the last 3 games.
Blaylock has 10, so he's tied Henry James. They've combined for 20. Childs lost it. It's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Mutombo. The intensity level in this game has changed dramatically, and a lot of credit for that, if you want to give credit, has got to go in John Starks' direction. He has completely changed the energy level on the floor. Ewing runs into Mutombo. Childs wide open. He's been off. Childs 2 for 5. Now Smith. Starks stays right with him. Blaylock. Not this time. It's tipped up and saved nicely by Ivano Newbill. Now it's Smith. Bending his body, trying to get position, screaming at the official, banging into Starks, going to the basket. 10 on the 24-second clock. They set it up for Smith again. Starks leans in with the forearm. This is really some battle. Smith rejected by Ewing. Hawks do a good job to get back. Starks, Childs for 3. White shirts underneath. Darren Hancock has checked into the game for Atlanta. Blaylock spins away from Childs. Thud. There's Buck Williams. He goes cross court for Childs. Hawks by 3.
Ewing wants that basketball. He puts his hands on Mutombo and establishes his contact, puts the ball on the floor, and Blaylock takes it away.
Blaylock at the other end. Hits the 3. Another one for Mookie Blaylock. He's got 13. And the Atlanta Hawks lead it by 6. The Knicks have hit only 1 of their last 6 shots. That'll be something to talk over. Well, the emotion has been raised, and it has affected the Hawks. They're at home, and they're playing like it. Up by 6.
The City Hawks have landed. Starting this spring, New York's newest pro football team debuts at the Garden. Witness the
exciting behind-the-scenes tour. Explore the inner workings of the famed 20,000-seat arena and the theater, New York's premier entertainment showplace. Visit the Knicks and Rangers locker rooms. From the luxury suites to the play-by-play restaurant, there's nothing like it in New York. The Madison Square Garden behind-the-scenes tour. Call 465-5800.
January puts a new year of great sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network, like New York Rangers hockey. Catch Mark and the Great One as they battle it out against the Capitals, the Penguins, and the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Knicks tip off some big matchups against the Bulls, the Pacers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features on MSG's comprehensive pregame show. Al Trotwick hosts MCS Cannon Knicks and Rangers game night. College hoops keeps things jamming on MSG. You'll see great matchups from the Big East, A10, and MAC conferences, plus 4 more big St. John's games. Stay on top of all the St. John's team news with interviews, features, and highlights on the Red Storm Report.
Well, the Hawks have stepped up their pressure now, enjoying a 6-point lead. Presence of Mutombo has been important to that Mutombo shaking Buck Williams away. Don't do that. Don't bring that in here. Mutombo, number 2 in the NBA in shot blocking. Behind the Nets, Sean Bradley. At the other end, Blaylock hitting the jump shot. Atlanta now on a 12-2 run since New York led 30-26.
Right you are, John. Now Patrick Ewing goes on to Kembe Mutombo. It rolls off. Knicks have hit one of their last 7 shots and have gone cold here in the late stages of the second quarter. Smith, he's having a tough time. 2 for 9. Another run off the rim. 2 for 10. Ewing's got the rebound, and that'll be number 7. He and Oakley each have 7 rebounds for New York. Childs, Oakley, Ewing left alone.
2 minutes.
Johnson back in the game. He's rejected by Dikembe Mutombo. So Mutombo stepping up as a force inside for Atlanta. Ten on the 24, and the Hawks put the play in motion. Blaylock. Mutombo against Ewing. He had a fabulous spin earlier in the half. This time he goes to the jump hook, and I think he should stick to the spin.
A little different now for Steve Smith with Larry Johnson on the court with him.
Knicks have made one of their last 8, and there's that Mutombo guy again. He's got 7 rebounds. No Knick in double-figure scoring as of yet. Foul on Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson going through the woes of a small forward. In that one night he can be guarding a smaller player. In this place, the very mobile Steve Smith. The next night he's matched up against what some would call a power forward. Really is challenging to his defense, his ability to adjust to his opponent.
Blaylock lost the ball out of bounds. It will be Knick ball, and officially it is the Knicks one of their last 10 shots. Mutombo with 3 blocks, and the Knicks will be talking about turnovers at halftime. They've committed 10. They post up Larry Johnson. The Hawks collapse, and Oakley is open. Charles Oakley from the corner.
I guess Leighton is not a believer in the Oakley jump shot. That's twice he's given them all kinds of room.
Final minute of the half. Blaylock. He's been hot from out there. Grabbed by Childs. On the dribble, he's got Ewing leading the field. And Ewing saves it. Houston grabs it. Childs guarded by number 35 of Atlanta, Darren Hancock. Ewing slaps away Mutombo's hand again. This time there is no offensive foul call. And he works hard for that too. And there'll be a timeout with 12.3 to go. It's a 20. Coming up at halftime, Mike Crispino's at the MSG Sports Desk. He'll have all the details on a big day for the Green Bay Packers and a shocking day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. How about that at Mile High Stadium? Plus highlights of the first half. And we'll look at the stat sheet as only John Andres can.
And even an invitational basketball clinic featuring Hawks players and coaches. Pick up a membership application.
Take a look at the presence of what Mutombo's presence means to Atlanta. That shot block against Larry Johnson here in the first half. Mutombo in New York, December 23rd. Larry Johnson going up for a shot around the basket, and there's that man again. That's Mutombo. That's becoming his signature after he blocks a shot.
Last chance for the Atlanta Hawks. Up by 2. Blaylock. Still Blaylock. Stopped by Childs, and the buzzer sounds. Chris Childs comes up with a fine defensive play to end this first half. So the Knicks withstand the flurry of Atlanta and their cold shooting in this second quarter. And they trail by only 2. 38 for the Hawks, 36 for the Knicks. This is halftime at the Omni in Atlanta.
friends. Hey, want to see some cool things? Where? At the Smithsonian. The famous flyers! To four-wheelers, Tucker made 51 of these cars. Washington sold. Rocket ships. Dizzy Gillespie's trumpet. Lizard lips. The Smithsonian. Discovered.
And Discover Card is proud to be partners in the anniversary celebration.
Jaws.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
A century ago, in the 1990s, Minolta's advanced photo system starred this space-age Vectis S1. 25% smaller with interchangeable lenses up to 50% smaller. 3 photo shapes with sharper images. Full roll index prints, easy drop-in loading, change film mid-roll. And still the only system's camera that's splash-proof.
Only from the mind of Minolta. Vectis S1. Go get it.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Quarterback for the Broncos. He's gone to 3 Super Bowls. This looked like a golden opportunity for him to return, but not today. He went 25 for 38 for 2 touchdowns, but it was Mark Brunell's key touchdown throw to Jimmy Smith in the final moments that gave Jacksonville a 30-20 lead. Elway brought his team all the way back, hitting Ed McCaffrey, the former Giant, to cut the lead to 3 with under 2 minutes. But then the onside kick, and a lousy one it was by Jason Elam, is picked up by Lachey Maston, and Jacksonville has won 7 in a row. They have moved on now to the NFC Championship game, winning 30-27. Meanwhile, the Packers cruised by the 49ers at Green Bay this afternoon, 35-14, in the process forcing 5 49er turnovers. Desmond Howard really broke it open in the opening 2 minutes. He takes a punt on his own 29-yard line and cuts through the heart of the 49ers special teams. Howard has been averaging 15 yards a return this year, best in the NFL. Had 3 touchdowns this year, make it 4. Later, he took one back 46 yards to set up another touchdown, and he took the touchdown leap into the jubilant Green Bay Lambeau Field fans. Other news from the NFL, that video confiscated from Eric Williams' home that's being investigated in the sexual assault against 2 Cowboy players did not find Michael Irvin on it, so Irvin looks like he'll be exonerated from any charges. Eric Williams was present on the video with the woman who is pressing sexual assault charges. Meanwhile, this afternoon at Madison Square Garden, college basketball, St. John's fell behind Pittsburgh 18-4. Then outscored Pittsburgh 48-18 and ended up winning the game by 11 points. It was defensive pressure from Charles Minland and Tariq Turner that got Ralph Willard's team in deep trouble. Minland finished with 13 points and 8 boards. Zendon Hamilton had 19 to lead the Red Storm on the penetration from Turner. A 22-0 run by the Johnnies as they now got a 6-5. They are 2-2 in the Big East. Other scores this afternoon, Rutgers defeated Notre Dame 70-53, and now the Scarlet Knights are 6-3 overall. Jeff Billett had 19 to lead the way. And at the Meadowlands tonight, Boston College is rolling over Seton Hall right now, 25-13. The Eagles came in ranked 25th in the country. We'll have more. Take a look at the hockey situation after these words on MSG.
Pretty good, feeling pretty lucky about trailing only by 2. And when you look at that bench and you think about this being a 4-quarter game.
Yes, the Knicks bench is doing a good job, but their starters have to step up more, Al. Charles Oakley and Larry Johnson only now with a combined total of 6 points, so they've just got to get more out of the front line.
We'll take a look at the highlights, which are brought to you by Jeep Wrangler, the original top-down fun in the sun on and off-road vehicle from Jeep.
Well, Patrick Ewing loves playing against a Georgetown alum. In this case, Dikembe Mutombo, as Ewing faded away for that jumper, couldn't deal with it. Ewing snapped the nets with that one. Get a load at number 3. John Starks off that missed foul shot, takes off full speed right down the middle for an inspiring move for him and the Knicks in the first half. What a battle with Steve Smith at 6'8" and John Starks hounding Steve Smith, fronting him, being driven to the floor. Smith also tough, bouncing into Starks, setting himself up, and he made that shot after all that physical play. But the steady Mookie Blaylock stealing the ball from Ewing, going down court, exchanging the ball with his teammate, and hitting a 3-point shot, something that he does a lot of.
The amazing thing with that sequence between Starks and Smith is that a foul was not called on the play. You've been watching the Tri-State Jeep and Eagle halftime report on MSG. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. It is the Knicks down by 2, heading toward the second half at the Omni. In a moment.
Want to get your feet wet on the internet? AT&T makes it easy to catch the wave. Every day, AT&T helps thousands of businesses, big and small, search for information, send email, and set up websites where they can do business with their customers. So whether you're a little kahuna or a big kahuna, grab your board and hop on. AT&T. It's going to be a great ride.
You've got a lot to plan for. Retirement, college. Now there's City Select mutual funds to make smart investing simple. City Select funds combine stocks, bonds, and cash to give you a full level of diversification in one smart investment. And it's simple because there's 4 choices, from relatively conservative to more aggressive. Make smart investing simple. City Select, only through Citicorp Investment Services at Citibank. Call now. The city never sleeps.
Give me a large fry, supersize.
I got it. It's time to pick the 97 NBA All-Star team. And you can vote for your favorite players.
I love that haircut, man.
Where they serve America's favorite fries, McDonald's. Vote today.
It's your world, baby. Come on, Scotty, give me a fry.
America's favorite fries, McDonald's. Go get them.
Please. Get your own, man.
So you have nothing to say?
Point line, making 5 of 11. That's excellent shooting. Both teams, neither of them getting to the foul line very much. The Hawks only 5 times.
John Starks and Steve Smith really changed the energy level in this game with their battle that cooled off a little bit after we had a chance to focus on it so much. Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing is discussing things with the official that called the offensive foul from the first half that resulted in Ewing's technical, and Patrick is going through the motions of what Mutombo is doing, maybe preventing his motion with the hand on the waist or whatever he's trying to explain. Either way, it's not going to change the technical or the foul that resulted in that sequence.
Well, what's nice to see is the good attitude between Ewing and the official Derek Stafford. And Jim Kinsey also talking the official to John Starks.
Meanwhile, this big month filled with so many key matchups continues tomorrow night at the world's most famous arena. It will be the Knicks and the improving Milwaukee Bucks. Glenn Robinson and the former star at Hartford, Vin Baker, who will take his pregame shower.
And UConn rookie Ray Allen, Armand Gilliam from the Nets. A whole new look for the Milwaukee Bucks. Former Hawk Andrew Lang. Milwaukee Bucks will come to the Garden having won their last 4 meetings with the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. And the Knicks have won 7 straight in Milwaukee. What a strange circumstances.
And the Garden brings out the best in the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks always seem to play well at the Garden. So we'll see as those 2 streaks collide. MCS Canada Knicks game night begins our coverage at 7 tomorrow night here on MSG. So Jeff Van Gundy gathers the Knicks as we get set for the second half, and conversations everywhere you look. Steve Smith checking in with Bill Hanslick, one of the assistants for Lenny Wilkens.
Knicks have to get more shots at the basket. I was looking at the shot attempts, Al. No one on the Knicks has taken more than 7 field goal attempts in the first half.
How about this, John? The Atlanta bench, not only are they being outscored by the Knick bench 13-zip, but the bench players, Rakasner, Newbill, and Hancock, who played, let's see, 22 minutes, took only 1 shot. And there they are. The guy on the left, Darren Hancock, sort of an interesting situation, was a total free agent. And with the injuries, Lenny Wilkens wanted to sign him. And so they told Hancock, come to Atlanta. We've got the hotel, the flight all picked out. Well, he never checked into the hotel, never took the flight. Wilkins tried to call the agent. The agent called the wife. They couldn't find him. And then mysteriously he appeared later that afternoon and said he had overslept. But Wilkins said, but you weren't in the hotel. And he said, well, I'm here now. And, well, they signed him anyway. And he got his chance to play in that first half.
What you're describing is a lucky man, Al.
Yeah. I mean, they were all set to go in another direction. Lenny Wilkins said when they couldn't find him in the morning, we're all set. We're going in another direction. And then finally, he popped up.
I'm sure Lenny liked that overslept story, too.
So it's Christian Laettner guarded by Charles Oakley, and a foul underneath the basket. Third personal foul on Chris Childs. Knicks with their starting unit, the Hawks 2, same starting 5. Mutombo and Ewing, Larry Johnson and Henry James. Houston on the switch guarding Blaylock. Now Ewing as Mutombo fronts. Runs out of space, Laettner. Oakley stays with him right to the baseline. Nice defensive job by Charles Oakley on Christian Laettner.
And Ewing also on Mutombo, taking the space away that he wanted without fouls.
Childs. He wants Oakley on a post-up.
Well, he had Blaylock on him. Blaylock's trying to cover everybody out there.
Allen Houston was the man that Oakley was throwing the ball to, and he just went into some sort of brain lock.
I don't think Charles Oakley realized he had the shorter Blaylock on him.
12th turnover for the New York Knicks. It's been one of their dilemmas here tonight. James picks up the deflected pass. Jeff Van Gundy applauds the Knicks defense. Larry Johnson. Forearm on all over Henry James. Atlanta turnover. The Knicks have come out to play defense here in the second half. Childs. Oakley and now Houston. Houston on the drive. And it's grabbed by Henry James. Blaylock for Laettner. Jeff Van Gundy wants him to up the tempo. Houston for 3. Both teams starting the way they did at the beginning of the game, by missing everything. It's exactly the same as the first quarter started. Blaylock driving on Allen Houston.
Houston doing a terrific job staying with the quicker Blaylock.
Another miss. Larry Johnson up the floor for Charles Oakley.
Childs petitioning Houston for that basketball.
Now it's Allen Houston against Henry James.
Had a Knick rebounder in position to rebound on that rushed Houston shot.
Both teams 0 for 3. Now Blaylock. A strong sense of deja vu. Blaylock on the pull-up. That's a tough shot by Mookie Blaylock. 3 minutes and 1 second before either team could score. In the first quarter, it was 2:52, so there's the obvious similarity. Houston for Ewing, forgotten about by Mutombo. Still, Laettner pushes Oakley away and grabs the rebound. Knicks were cold in the second quarter, and they're cold here in the third.
Childs has to stay so close to Blaylock, who can fall back on that three-point shot that he executes so well, and Blaylock also can explode by you at any moment, so that's a very difficult matchup for Childs.
Second foul against Charles Oakley. Henry James will inbound. 8.5 to go in the third. Laettner on the clear out. Rejected by Ewing. Up the floor goes Childs. Oakley left alone. Larry Johnson saves it. Oakley out of bounds and into the front row. It's Blaylock 3-on-3. Henry James fakes by Ewing. Goes up on Childs. Weird shot tipped by Laettner. And Jeff Van Gundy wants to slow this thing down. It's a 20-second timeout as the Hawks score the first 4 points of the third quarter to go up 42-36.
Well, there's no lacking of effort on the part of the Knicks, that's for sure. They're just not making their shots. Larry Johnson going after the loose basketball. Flips it over in the direction of Oakley, who gets hip checked, it looked like, by Blaylock, and sent to the floor. And the Hawks had a 4-on-3 at that point.
So the Knicks 0 for 6, Atlanta 2 for 7. That's the one thing that the Knicks can take some solace in. They're not hitting their shots, but Atlanta isn't exactly sizzling either. Both teams at about 36%
in the game. In the game in New York, Al, the Knicks shot 36%. Funny that you mentioned that number. And Atlanta 41. So they're both teams very defensive minded, making it very difficult on each other.
It was a close game at the Garden until Atlanta went absolutely ice cold, and it's a close game here. A close game at the Garden. It's a close game here in Atlanta. Ewing. Quick little turnaround. Dikembe Mutombo grabs the rebound. The Knicks 0 for 7 and haven't scored since there were 19 seconds left in the first half.
Leighton waiting for everybody to clear out so he can go to work on Charles Oakley, who slaps the ball away right into the hands of Mutombo. And it looks like Mutombo lost the ball, but he was hoping for a foul.
Charles Oakley's done a good job at slapping the ball away from Leitner when he shows it after receiving the pass. Blaylock in for Smith. The basket won't count. The foul is on Allen Houston, his second.
Leitner only has 2 field goals, 2 of 7 here in the game so far.
Very quiet offensive game for Larry Johnson. Once again, only 2 points. Allen Houston only has 4. You got 2 20-point-a-game guys a year ago, and they've combined for 6 so far in this one. Oakley tries to bother Leitner. Leitner gets position, but Oakley's right there with him. He can't stop the shot of Christian Leitner.
Guy is 6'11".
10 points for Leitner. And the Hawk lead is 8. Ewing. Finally. The Knicks go almost 6 minutes, a little over 5 minutes actually, between baskets as Ewing gives them their first points of the third quarter.
That quick pass got Mutombo flat-footed. He did not pursue Patrick on that shot attempt.
Now it's Mutombo. It's post up, post up, post up as the Hawks take turns. James guarded by Larry Johnson, and he hits it. Johnson had a hand right in his face, and Henry James hits another 3, his third of the game. He's got 13 points. That was a line drive by the man rescued from the CBA by the Atlanta Hawks.
That is James's high as a member of the Hawks now in his 5th game.
Johnson, the handoff, it was sloppy. Houston saves it, can't get the roll. The Knicks offensively are just not getting it to click. Steve Smith. That's an offensive foul against Atlanta. Oh, he turned the ball over. No foul, he turned the ball over. So a whistle stops play. We've got 5:45 to go. The Hawks have the lead.
Did we rent with Hertz #1 Club Gold?
Did we rent with Hertz #1 Club Gold?
Did we rent with Hertz? Not exactly. Can't we skip the rental counter like it Hertz?
Can't we skip the rental counter?
No, not exactly. No. Isn't our car under a canopy like it Hertz?
Isn't our car under a canopy?
Isn't our car?
Not exactly.
In rent-a-car, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. We can't repeat that too often. If you were the client, would you hire us?
Would you hire us?
If you were the client, would you?
Exactly. Old junky antique shops. I like.
You want me to tell you what my Discover card statement says?
Just little things that make a girl sing.
A lot in this game between these 2 defensive-minded teams. The Hawks are enjoying the +9 in their advantage. And the Hawks now with a 10-game home winning streak. Looking at home records around the NBA, you see where they rank with the Chicago Bulls, 15-1 at home. The Hawks 10-1. They lost their first home game to the Detroit Pistons. But they are showing the Knicks now why they have been so tough here. The Knicks cannot find the shooting touch.
Lenny Wilkins' Hawks on a 9-2 run, enjoying their biggest lead of the game. As John said, 9 points. 5.5 to go in this third quarter. The Knicks have 1 hoop this entire quarter. 1 basket, that's it. 4 on the 24. Ewing, the fall away. That noise, that clang has typified what has happened here for the Knicks in the third.
Knicks are really hungry for scoring.
Oh, that hurts. Steve Smith hits a 3.
The scoring from Oakley, Larry Johnson, their front line, their forwards just have not added much offense here at all.
Johnny Starks trying to get his team going. That one bounces off the rim. Talk about Larry Johnson, John. Larry over his last 3 games is 3 for his last 17 shots. Smith guarded by Starks. This was some rivalry in the first half, and a foul on Starks.
That's a foul on John Starks, the
second foul on Starks.
Very tough matchup for John Starks is Steve Smith, backing him in, and John hacking him as he goes up for that shot attempt.
Got him on the forearm. Smith a 78% free throw shooter. The Hawks as a team, and this is weird, have the exact same shooting percentage down to the 1,000th decimal place as the Knicks. 75.6%. Coming into tonight's game. Steve Smith stays at 9 with the free throw miss. It's Ewing, Oakley, Johnson, Childs, and Starks for New York. Dikembe Mutombo, Steve Smith, Christian Laettner, Henry James, and Mookie Blaylock. There's not too many bench options for Lenny Wilkins. Ewing up strong.
Oh, he got the position down low, and Starks went off to the side and got him the ball just beautifully at a perfect angle.
John, here we are 8 minutes into the third quarter, and Patrick Ewing is the first Knick to double digits. He's got 10. This time it's Childs guarding Smith, and a big height advantage for Steve Smith. Picked away by Childs. Up the floor for Starks. On the run. Sees Johnson.
Oh, Childs makes it happen. He is such a tough performer. But he goes back to Blaylock now.
4 points for Larry Johnson. Sometimes a dunk can help you find your shot. James for 3. He's killing the Knicks. Henry James having his best game as a member of the Hawks. He gives them the 54-42 12-point lead. Atlanta's largest. Starks. Grab by Laettner, tip from Mutombo. Up the floor goes Steve Smith. He beats the Knicks up the floor. That gets an angry Jeff Van Gundy to call a timeout. 1 on 3. Steve Smith was the fastest man up the floor. The Knicks are down by 14.
You're watching MSG Network.
We're all over it.
The City Hawks have landed. Starting this spring, New York's newest pro football team debuts at the Garden. Witness the power and excitement of arena football, where you're not just at the game, you're in the game. Tickets are on sale now at the Garden box office and by calling Ticketmaster. For season subscriptions, call 212-465-6073. You don't have to wait for fall for football.
Bucks after MCS Cannon game night tomorrow night on MSG.
Welcome to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena.
There's no place like the Garden, and the best way to see it is with an exciting behind-the-scenes tour. Explore the inner workings of the famed 20,000-seat arena and the theater, New York's premier entertainment showplace. Visit the Knicks and Rangers locker rooms. From the luxury suites to the play-by-play restaurant, there's nothing like it in New York. The Madison Square Garden behind-the-scenes tour. Call 465-5800.
Remember, when you're having good times with good friends, to drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser. Hawks continuing to generate offense. Lead pass. Knicks slow in transition. Beaten by Christian Laettner down at the other end of the court. The Hawks really pulling it together now.
Atlanta's riding a 10-game winning streak here at home in the Omni. John Wallace off the bench for the Knicks along with Buck Williams. He's off, and the Knicks are 3 of 15 in the quarter, scoring but only 6 points. Jeff Van Gundy telling his team in the timeout, we have plenty of time, and they do, but this Hawks team does not let you score a lot of points. Charles Oakley steps in and commits the foul. Jeff Van Gundy is way out on the floor complaining about the call. The referee just said to Jeff Van Gundy, you wanted it, you got it. And he gave him the tee.
Jim Kinsey call that technical on Jeff. We have not seen Jeff Van Gundy this excited as a head coach.
He's gone. Oh, wait, now Buck Williams has gotten it. Buck Williams has been called for a technical foul. And somebody's gone. Technicals flying. Buck Williams has been ejected. So two of the really in-control guys, Jeff Van Gundy and Buck Williams, lose it here in the third quarter. So Buck Williams is on his way to the locker room. John, that's the angriest that I've ever seen Jeff Van Gundy out on the floor, and Buck Williams is headed to the locker room.
As is Charles Oakley.
I think Oakley got hit in the contact between he and Mutombo. Took a shot to the lip. Oakley is bleeding and is being attended to by Knicks assistant trainer Tim Walsh. Van Gundy just keeps saying it over and over again. That's a bad call. That's a bad call. Meanwhile, Smith hits the 3 free throws for his 12th, 13th, and 14th points.
Oakley coming over to double team Mutombo is called, and it appeared that Oakley just had his hands at waist level on the basketball, because the official a lot closer to the play with a different angle than we have.
Herb Williams makes a rare appearance into the game with the absence now of Buck Williams. He's back in the mix. Herb hasn't played in 7 games. So it's Herb Williams, Larry Johnson, John Wallace, John Starks, and Charlie Ward. A costly play. Williams gets ejected. Oakley gets a shot to the lip, I believe. And so 2 big, bulky Knicks are in the locker room, and the Knicks are down by 17 points. They've got 42 points with a little over 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. 42.
Meanwhile, Larry Johnson getting the pass inside, bumped by Henry James.
One of the things that Buck Williams' loud argument on the court did was distract the officials from what looked to be a certain second technical for Jeff Van Gundy.
Oh, tough finish by John Wallace getting the ball in low.
Well, the Knicks will rely on this patchwork lineup on the floor to try and create a comeback here against Atlanta. Wallace tangles up to Kembe Mutombo and gets the jump ball. Jeff Van Gundy continues to go at Derek Stafford. He is an angry man.
Well, that was the kind of play I think Jeff was reminding Stafford that Oakley greeted Mutombo with.
run by Mookie Blaylock. He comes in on Herb Williams. They collide. No call. Starks stops the ball. Henry James loses it out of bounds, but they say it was last touched by Starks. So with 1:59 to go, Atlanta's ball, and it's Blaylock. Guarded by Charlie Ward. Blaylock lets it go for three. Big rebound, Mutombo. That is a big-time follow for the Atlanta Hawks. 6 points only for Mutombo. 61-44. Atlanta by 17. Herb Williams. Henry James, John, is doing a little bit of everything, and we've lost our statistical chart on the computer, so we're relying on Kevin here, who's manually doing his best.
It certainly looks like this is James's best game wearing a Hawks uniform.
Smith bothered by Starks, screaming for a foul. Starks goes the other way up the floor. Charlie Ward stops Wallace. Tangled up Ward. Now Wallace again. And a whistle. 3-second violation. Charlie Ward and John Wallace got trapped in the lane. The Knicks have 8 points in this third quarter. And there's a minute to go. Ivano Newbill. Now Blaylock looking for Mutombo. Grabbed by Wallace, who forces another jump ball. So twice now, John Wallace draws the jump ball with Dikembe Mutombo, and he's got a smile for that. 46.4 seconds to go. It is 61-44. Casper comes in. Steve Smith leaves. Nick Lowe for a quarter is 10. So they're flirting with tying the record here in Atlanta.
That was against Minnesota. In Minnesota.
Starks for Larry Johnson with the foul. He's got a chance to prevent the Knicks from tying a record they want no part of tying.
First in the last 2 minutes.
Good move inside by John Starks, going down the lane, drawing the attention of the big man, setting it up for Larry Johnson, who also gets the foul. Another look at Starks with the nice dish.
So Larry Johnson to the line with 32.7 to go. He scores. The Knicks will not tie their season mark for fewest points in a quarter.
Meanwhile, the Knicks have their big man, Patrick Ewing, on the bench, ready to come back.
Dikembe obviously changing jerseys. He must have gotten blood on it when he collided with Charles Oakley, so he's being responsible.
Larry Johnson's foul shooting has, as we see him make one, has really picked up. 82% over the last 9 games.
Mookie Blaylock for 3. Starks to the rebound. He's got plenty of time. 10 for Ward. Charlie Ward with 7. Charlie Ward with 5. Herb Williams from way out. Herb Williams. That's why you love Herb Williams. He hasn't seen a minute for 2 weeks and comes off the bench and beats the buzzer and gives the Knicks a much-needed basket.
Well, there's an example of a man keeping himself ready, Al.
61-49. It's a very manageable 12 points.
Your 2-day package. Cost?
Three, what's your priority? Priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by the United States Postal Service. We deliver for you. By MetLife. Get Met. It pays. And by W1. By Raymond Wild. The cutting edge in time.
It's January, and it's busy time for the Knicks. Delta Airlines' upcoming Knicks schedule presents the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. MCS Cannon game night at 7 p.m., 7:30 game start. Tuesday, the Dallas Mavericks come to town, And Friday, the Knicks go up to Boston. Also, MCS Cannon Knicks game night, 7 p.m.
Knicks ended the third quarter on a 5-0 run. And they have to hope for an Atlanta Hawks fourth quarter, the likes of which they saw at Madison Square Garden in late December. Atlanta calls timeout. That's when the Hawks shot 3 of 20 in the fourth quarter and went almost 7 minutes without a hoop. And then last year at the Omni, the last time the Knicks played here, Atlanta only got 10 points in the fourth quarter, going 8-22 without a field goal. Well, the Knicks would like to see a little history repeat itself. Now, as Jeff Van Gundy talks things over with the Knicks, this is how the sequence went. The official said, you want it, you got your technical. Now a different official comes over and he really lets loose. Meanwhile, what's happening on the floor about 15 feet away is Buck Williams is getting called for one technical, then another, and right here, as Jeff Van Gundy is really letting him have it, he thinks about it, he thinks about it, he thinks about it, and then Buck Williams distracts his attention for a moment, and that bought Jeff Van Gundy a little bit of a buffer time. Buck Williams was the one who was being charged for the 2 technical fouls out on the floor. And so the Atlanta 20-second timeout sees Laettner get inside low. Loose ball foul. It'll be called on the Knicks. Ward called his first team foul on the Knicks. There you see the Knicks stats when trailing after 3 quarters. Considering Atlanta's record, considering the way Atlanta plays defense, this would be a big-time comeback. Here's Starks on the run, hit hard by Eldridge Rakasner. And John Starks will go to the line for 2. 2 free throws could make it a 10-point lead.
Well, John Starks getting the ball in the open court, going up hard as usual, and he is fouled hard.
So now Starks steps to the line. On the season, he's a 79% free throw shooter, so
but always much more effective when the points have more meaning.
It is 61-50. One more look at the Knicks when trailing after 3 quarters. Last year they were 6-26. So they did not have a lot of comeback ability. This year it's different. 7 times they've come back when trailing after 3. It is a 10-point Atlanta Hawk lead. The Knicks have scored 7 straight as they slowly rebuild their confidence. And the turning point in this game was that outburst by Jeff Van Gundy. It was the moment in which the Knicks got their act together and got back into this game. Herb Williams. Gets the roll. So it's 9-2, the Knicks run since the technicals. Starks gets the Herb Williams screen. Starks from way out. Big follow by Herb Williams. Fans wanted a 3-second violation. It was close. John Wallace. Soft touch. Starks tried to follow it, but Laettner beat him to the ball. Charles Oakley is back from the Knicks dressing room, having the cut or whatever he had on his face that was bleeding attended to. He's fine. Whistle outside the play. There's Oakley. No bandage visible. Must have been maybe inside his lip.
Knicks are very happy, needless to say. Charles Oakley destroyed the Hawks in New York with that 18 rebound game, his season high.
Patrick Ewing still on the bench. That's an offensive foul. That is the 2nd time in the game that Dikembe Mutombo has been called for an illegal screen. That's his 3rd foul. We're told that Oakley received 4 stitches above his lip. (63-51). Plenty of time left. 10.5 to go.
John Wallace trying to post up, get the ball. He couldn't get clear. That's Charlie Ward.
Charlie can penetrate, but when you're dealing with Dikembe Mutombo inside, that is a big, big factor to consider as you head down the lane. And Ewing takes off the warm-up to re-enter things. Blaylock picked on a double team. Now Larry Johnson recovers to get back. Late cross-court James, and he's had his heel on the end line. He was out of bounds when he received the pass. So Patrick Ewing is back. Herb Williams leaves.
Herb did a terrific job in his limited minutes. As you mentioned, Al, it's been 7 games since he had a run.
9:50 to go. Ward still out there running the show. Starks and Ewing. Work the screen. They've done it 1,000 times. 8 seconds on the 24. Mookie Blaylock driving John a little bit nuts. Ewing forgotten about. Bodies collide underneath. There'll be a loose ball foul on Larry Johnson. His second. Johnson committing his second personal foul. So it will be Atlanta ball. Up by 12. The Knicks need somebody to get hot.
Well, they got to stop everything at this end of the court, as they have, as we've been pointing out in prior meetings.
John Starks is called for a foul, trying to defend Eldred McCaslin. The Knicks in the midst of a 35% shooting night. Atlanta 42, right about their seasonal average. The Knicks average on the season shooting 46%. So they're way off from that. And a lot of that has to do with the challenging of the shots that the Hawks do on defense. What a follow by Dikembe Mutombo. He went over the top of everybody. Mutombo coming off a 21-point game last night in New Jersey. Not scoring with the same frequency, but his points always seem to come, at least tonight, at the right time for Atlanta. Now Ewing tries to answer. Strange shot by Patrick.
It was a nice shot because it was so deceptive. I don't know that I've ever seen him make a move like that.
Blaylock uses the screen. Now Johnson and Starks. And now John Starks is threatening to get a technical foul. 4th foul on Starks. He's being told to cool it. Knicks are over the limit, so with 8:36 to go, the Atlanta Hawks could be in a position to do a lot of foul shooting.
Now here's the man the Hawks love to see at the line. He came in tonight having made 38 foul shots in a row over the last 6 games. And I believe he's made 3 straight tonight.
Well, the Johnny Hoops jinx is not in effect. Leitner makes 4 in a row, and the Knicks are down once again by 16 points. And a whistle. Foul is on Henry James, his 3rd, so the Knicks will take it on the sideline and get a fresh 24. The Knicks got it down to 10, and that's where Atlanta put up the wall. Ewing double teamed. He was not very quick at recognizing that, and it cost the Knicks possession. McCaslin. Oh, what a move. He was flying. And Atlanta roars to an 18-point lead, looking for an 11th straight win at home. 8:11 to go.
W1 by Raymond Weil. The cutting edge in time. Time for the next generation. W1 by Raymond Weil.
Introducing the New York Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now and get the only card that gives you savings, service, and great Knick discounts. Get the savings of no annual fee, this low introductory rate for purchases when you pay your bill over time, and American Express service. Plus, discounts at the Garden at restaurants and on Knicks merchandise. A free gift just for using the card. You can even win prizes like a skybox seat to a Knicks game. So apply for your Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now, because there's just one thing to say about a credit card this great. American Express helps Knicks fans do more.
Well, with 8:11 to go in the game, let's take a look at our Coke Classic play going back to last December. The Knicks here in Atlanta, fourth quarter. At one point, the score was 89-79 in favor of the Hawks, and then Patrick Ewing went wild. The Knicks go on a 20-1 run, and Ewing scores 16 of the last 17 Knicks points. An amazing run by the Knicks, and that was the finale. Ewing with that slam dunk. December 9th, 1995, the Knicks went on to win the game, and history must repeat itself for the Knicks to pull this one out.
Knicks are having big-time problems in the early minutes of quarters here tonight in Atlanta. Charles Oakley back onto the floor with his 4 stitches in the upper lip. The Knicks have missed their first 4 shots here in the fourth, and Atlanta's put together an 8-0 run. Larry Johnson for Ewing. Finally, I mean, it looked like the ball just didn't want to go in even then. But the Knicks have their first hoop of the fourth quarter, and it's 69-53. Ewing with 12, and he leads the Knicks. He leads the Knicks with 12 points. At the other end, a foul. By the way, the Eldridge-Rakasner fast break points that led to the timeout were the first points scored by the Atlanta bench in this entire game. Knicks, as we mentioned a moment ago, over the limit, so Dikembe Mutombo to the line. The Knicks bench has 19 points. So you know something's wrong with your starting unit when your bench outscores the other team's bench 19-2, and you're down 16 points. Eight, 11 points for Dikembe Mutombo. The Atlanta Hawks are being led by Henry James. Henry James, 16 points, 15 for Mookie Blaylock. And another, lots of whistles here.
Knicks just not getting the perimeter game in action tonight. Very quiet from long range. A reflection also of the intensity, as you mentioned earlier, Al. Challenging of all the shot attempts by the Knicks.
Leitner's up on Stark, so that's a mismatch favoring Atlanta. Starks. Drives down for Ewing. John Starks faked Christian Laettner with a simple look. Laettner bought the look to see whether Steve Smith was going to come over and switch, and that just totally allowed Starks to create the pass.
Starks knew he could get around Laettner, and then good things happened.
So it's 70-55, a 15-point lead for the home team. Laettner guarded by Larry Johnson. Laettner. Off the thud on the back of the rim, Starks up the floor. Ewing hit the deck, but he's all right. You'll see him in your picture right there.
Larry Johnson finding it so difficult to get shots off tonight.
Johnson works his way around Laettner. Nice move, can't get it to fall. They're just not falling at all for the Knicks.
Amazing how well the Atlanta Hawks are playing with Blaylock on the bench.
Ewing went for the steal. Laettner maintains possession. Henry James. Henry James. He has 19 points. Johnny's having the career game. He's having the game of his NBA life.
Yes, 13 has been his high.
Intended for Ewing.
I mean, Charles Oakley threw a lead pass to Ewing, but Mutombo was in front of him.
I didn't think Ewing was looking at the pass, thinking that it was for him. Lenny Wilkins is over talking to Mookie Blaylock. What do you think, John? You think he was saying, I love Henry James?
I suspect if he wasn't saying it, it will follow in the postgame the way things look.
And now he's talking to Dikembe Mutombo. He's coaching. He's doing a lot of coaching
Always calm, but very direct, Lenny Wilkens. In fact, it was almost a year ago, actually a year ago on January 6th, coming up, that Lenny Wilkens broke the record for wins as an NBA coach, breaking Red Auerbach's record.
Larry Johnson finally gets by Christian Laettner, but Laettner gets a whack in as he does. 5:40 to go. Knicks down by 19 points. You really had the feeling when the Knicks got it to 10 that momentum, whatever there was in the favor of the Knicks, but Atlanta just turned up the defense and shut New York down again.
Quiet night for Allen Houston.
Very. Larry Johnson for Patrick Ewing. Nothing, if you look, nothing for the Knicks on offense has an easy look to it at all. 17-point difference. Many Knicks fans might remember the loss to the Miami Heat at the Garden as one of the low points of the season. Well, for a point total, it was the lowest at 75. And the Knicks are going to give that a pretty good run here, standing at 57 with 5 minutes and 13 seconds to go.
We were mentioning earlier that the Hawks on back-to-back nights, the second game, they are 1 win and 7 losses for the season. So they have put forth a terrific effort here tonight after playing last night in New Jersey.
Mookie Blaylock is entered the game, and yet another whistle. It's a whistle fest right now. 4th foul on Christian Laettner. For the Atlanta Hawks, got to really like beating the New York Knicks, and a little over a week after that, taking on the New York Knicks and humbling them in a big way here. And remember, the Hawks are the team who don't have all their players. Tyrone Corbin adds a lot of muscle to this team. Not here. Kenny Norman, not here.
Willie Burton, who's done some good things this year. Alan Henderson is Willie Burton. Alan Henderson, the second-year player from Indiana who impressed the Hawks in the preseason, also not here. 6'9" player.
So these Atlanta Hawks in control with 4:50 to go. Hawks rattles in a 3. It is 74-61.
John Starks giving his teammates his inspiration, giving them the feeling that maybe we can do it.
Knicks have put together a mini run here, 6-0.
They've got to be perfect, though.
Laettner outside for Blaylock. Atlanta's won 10 straight games here at the Omni. 10 straight. Smith pulls up over Allen Houston. Ewing got position. Big rebound for New York. Now Houston's on the run. He's a good finisher and draws the foul. The Knicks could pull to within 10 here. And you know, the official Knicks cheerleader, John Starks, is going to be in the middle of the celebration. Foul on Blaylock is 3rd.
Ewing pushing that ball up to Allen Houston. He's in a one-on-one with Blaylock. He knows he's got size. It makes a very difficult shot.
Oakley gets the follow, helped by Wallace, and it's a foul against Oakley. It was tipped by Wallace. Oakley gets called for the loose ball foul. And it will be Atlanta ball. They'll get free throws because the Knicks are over the limit.
John Wallace topping the ball over, but Oakley disposed of Mutombo with his left hand, and no argument from Charles at all.
So Allen Houston missing a chance to bring the Knicks within 10. And now it's Mutombo at the line. Dikembe 71% on the season. And it's 75-63. Atlanta on the year has beaten Seattle, beaten Cleveland, beaten Miami, beaten Chicago, and now has the Knicks on the ropes.
He's a reliable foul shooter, was 7 of 7 last night against the Nets.
Mutombo now with 13 points. The Knicks still have only one player in double figures. Atlanta has 5. Houston, quick release. Oakley this time gets the follow. Almost lost it to Starks. Boy, Allen Houston's really having a tough time. Ewing gets the quick pass. Fakes Mutombo. Oakley, Ewing, kept alive. Oakley, the follow. It's 76-65. 3:40 to go. Just for the heck of it, if you're a Knicks fan, you think of Bulls-Lakers. Earlier this season, Bulls down 19 in the fourth quarter. They win it.
What a smart move by Steve Smith. Looked at taking the jumper, but then saw the space and took it in closer and closer.
Starks way off on the 3. And he hears it from the fans here. Not a sellout crowd at the Omni, but pretty close.
No one's leaving, however.
And they stop play because of a wet spot in the lane. John Starks dealing with that miss. You know, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. You can just about tell where he's thinking, what he's thinking about. Smith guarded by Houston. Smith set 16 points. Goes for Leitner. Soft touch.
Nice pick and roll. That was Smith and Leitner. Smith delivering the pass.
And once again, the Knicks knock the Atlanta lead down, have a chance to get it to 10. They don't. And Atlanta responds. It's back up to a 15-point lead for the Hawks.
January puts a new year of great sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network. Like New York Rangers hockey. Catch Mark and the Great One as they battle it out against the Capitals, the Penguins, and the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Knicks tip off some big matchups against the Bulls, the Pacers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features on MSG's comprehensive pregame show. Al Trotwick hosts MCS Cannon Knicks and Rangers game night. College hoops keeps things jamming on MSG. You'll see great matchups from the Big East, A10, and MAC conferences, plus 4 more big St. John's games. Stay on top of all the St. John's team news with interviews, features, and highlights on the Red Storm Report. Take a hard look at today's fast-moving sports world and the people who make the headlines. Bob Page hosts Page 1. Plus, you can always catch the latest scores, stories, highlights, and all the Tri-State Scholastic sports news on Coors Light MSG Sports Desk. It's all right at your fingertips. A great lineup of New Year sports action on MSG Network.
We're all over.
Messier with it. He scores! Adam Gray with a short-handed goal. Let's keep moving in. He shoots, he scores! Between Brenda Moore, puts it in front, and Richter's made the save. Messier turns to the empty net. A hat trick for Mark Messier. How about that?
Everything has been a struggle tonight for Jeff Van Gundy's Knicks. In the first half, Chris Childs spent the in the first half, Chris Childs was involved in a collision, and during the timeout, this is what he did. Laid on the floor, taking care of his back, which has been bothering him since he hit the deck. As I said back in the first half, 2 minutes, 47 seconds to go. The Knicks are down by 15 points.
Mike Saunders informs us, though, that he'll be okay to play.
John Wallace rejected by Mutombo and fouled. Steve Smith is called for his first personal foul for all the physical play that Steve Smith has been involved in. And there's Chris Childs taking the Larry Bird pose. I remember you were very critical of Larry Bird when he did this.
I don't remember that, Al.
John? Now, John.
I was, you're right, Al. That's Charles Barkley.
So now where are you on Chris Childs? He's got a hot pack on the back. He wants to stay out there with the team. He doesn't want to sit because it hurts.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
Good.
I'm a team player.
Still 15. Meanwhile, you look up on the stat sheet and you see Henry James, 5 3-pointers.
That's what had to happen. They had to do something different, obviously, as a team, considering their injury problems. And they're shooting the ball so well in comparison to the Knicks. That was Leitner.
Christian Leitner doing more than making up for his off performance at Madison Square Garden on the 23rd of December. Walter McCarty hasn't played in 5 games. He's getting some minutes here. Under 2 minutes.
McCarty's lively style and energy always impresses Jeff Van Gundy.
The Atlanta Hawks were running away with this game, up by 17 points, when Jeff Van Gundy exploded, got a technical foul. In the same sequence, Buck Williams, maybe to deflect attention from his coach, let another official have it. He got ejected with 2 quick technicals, and the Knicks responded by running off 9 straight points to cut the lead to 10. And that is when Atlanta put a run together of their own. And that effectively sealed this game. Now checking in for Atlanta, some of their bench guys. Priest Lauderdale. Number 24 is Donnie Boyce. Dikembe Mutombo leaves with 13 points. And we'll have to wait to check on the rebounding totals. He had 5 blocks in this game. Mutombo has given this franchise what they haven't had just about ever in their existence. A very, very capable center.
You mentioned Priest Lauderdale, Al. Rookie from Central State. 7'4", listed at 343 pounds. How about that?
He weighs as much as Fort Lauderdale. John Barry has checked in, one of Rick Barry's sons. So he takes part in this Garbage Time Festival.
Alan Houston on a block.
Houston all the way. 1:12 to go now. And the Knicks are 6 points away from their season low offensive output. Lauderdale. Herb Williams commits the foul on Ivano Newbill.
That's a foul on New York's Herb Williams, his first. New York's over the limit.
It's amazing in the NBA how one player can come into the game and make everybody look small. And that's what Lauderdale has done to Knicks players, including Herb Williams, who looks like a toothpick, a 6'4" type out there.
Newbill thuds the second one. So we're under a minute. Herb Williams hits from the baseline. The Knicks running into a team that just loves playing here at home and loves to play defense, much like the Knicks do. And there's Lauderdale.
Very emphatic dunk after John Barry found him.
Off the steal, on the run.
That was a heck of a catch.
It was a very nice catch.
That was Boyce catching that lead pass.
Donnie Boyce in his second year out of Colorado. So the problem on the play was that Charlie Ward, was being asked to look like a defensive back, and that's not his position. So
it all gets clear, Al.
Another frustrating night for Larry Johnson, a frustrating night for Allen Houston.
Oh, I think you can throw in the whole Knicks team.
Yeah, I was just about to run off a list, and just about all the starters.
They played very hard, but they just couldn't match the effective execution of the Atlanta Hawks.
And now they're heading for the exits here at the Omni. This arena, by the way, will be torn down in the offseason, and the Hawks will move to Georgia Tech and the Georgia Dome while their new arena is built. What a play by Allen Houston to block that pass from Donnie Boyce. So barring any playoff encounter, the Knicks will play one more game at the Omni. And that will do it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
some very, very tough to look at shooting numbers for the Knicks tonight. You know it's not a good scene as Chris Childs, very, very tender. It's an arm around the shoulder from Chris Gent, but he's going to be patient of Mike Saunders postgame. The Knicks once again prevent their opponent from reaching 90 points. Unfortunately for them, they only get 71. The final here in Atlanta. The Knicks 88 and the Atlanta Hawks 71. It is a slow, painful walk for Chris Childs. But Mike Saunders said confidently he'll be fine. And you know the Knicks' next game is coming up in less than 24 hours. Back in a moment.
Now there's a vehicle designed to give you greater control in the downhill that lets you express yourself with its free style and is instrumental.
New York Knicks' three-game winning streak has been snapped in Atlanta, where the Hawks have put the Knicks on a long list of teams that have lost to Atlanta here at the Omni. The final was 88-71. The Knicks just could not hit their shots tonight, and that was the theme throughout most of the game. Now, due in large part also to the Hawks' defense and also the offense provided by Henry James, playing with his fifth NBA team, rescued from the CBA, a guy who played in France, has a season high and a career setter. 19 points. He's the New York Marriott Marquis player of the game. He hit 5 3-pointers. And the Marriott Marquis is, of course, Broadway's biggest hit. So we'll wrap up our game coverage now, looking ahead to the post-game report. The final score, once again, the Atlanta Hawks take their 11th straight here at home and beat the Knicks 88-71 for New York, their lowest offensive output game of the season. Tomorrow night, the Knicks will be back at it, flying back to New York tonight and getting set to take on the Bucks at the Garden. MCS Cannon Knicks Game Night begins our coverage tomorrow here at 7 on MSG. The Knicks post-game report is next. We'll be covering all the angles. Meanwhile, closed captioning has been brought to you by Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the best of health. Jeff Van Gundy with the grim look, Patrick Ewing an embrace for a friend, but it was not the Knicks night. Knicks basketball is produced by Howie Singer, who tonight was our director. His versatility is matched by our producer, Frank DeGrace. Graphics provided by Jim Gallagher. With John Andres, I'm Al Troutwig. Stay with us. The Knicks post-game report is coming up next on MSG.
Introducing the New York Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now and get the only card that gives you savings, service, and great Knick discounts. Get the savings of no annual fee, this low introductory rate for purchases when you pay your bill over time, and American Express service. Plus, discounts at the Garden at restaurants and on Knicks merchandise. A free gift just for using the card. You can even win prizes like a skybox seat to a Knicks game. So apply for your Knicks credit card from American Express. Call 1-800-KNICKS now, because there's just one thing to say about a credit card this great. American Express helps Knicks fans do more.
The New York Knicks postgame report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
This is the New York Knicks post-game report. Welcome back to the Omni in Atlanta, everybody. The New York Knicks losing tonight to the Atlanta Hawks, who just play great here at home. It's 11 straight for them in a row now at the Omni. The final was 88-71. The Knicks were very cold in the second half. Mookie Blaylock, 3 3-pointers, played fine defensively, and offensively he penetrates with the best of them. He finishes with 15 points. I'd love to tell you all the other great numbers he compiled in tonight's game, but the computer is down, so we're working manually to solve it. Let's go to John Andres now with Mookie.
Thank you, Al. Mookie Blaylock, a very important win for your Atlanta Hawks team here tonight to keep that home winning streak going. And what did it take, from your perspective, to beat the Knicks?
Well, you got to play defense against this team. It's a team that is very good down on the post, and you got Patrick who scored well, and we came out knowing we had to go double Patrick, and that was a big key for us. And we get it out of his hand and make somebody else beat us.
Sometimes when you do that, though, you leave the perimeter people open to hurt you. Tonight, you didn't do that as well because you were covering both inside and outside offensive threats by the Knicks.
Well, we had to play an up-tempo ball game. We're very good on up-tempo and pressing the ball in defense and getting a lot of easy baskets. I think that was a key for us. We came out, we didn't give them easy looks. Up in New York, we gave them a lot of easy looks. Starks got open a lot, and you got to be up on guys like that who can shoot the ball.
The meaning of beating the Knicks has to be heavy. An Eastern Conference challenger, naturally, a team that handled you in the Garden. In fact, they really shut you down in the fourth quarter 4 games ago at Madison Square Garden. Was that something that Lenny Wilkins was particularly sensitive to, how you guys died in the fourth quarter in New York?
Yeah, it was. It was basically we had to get out and run some offense. Up in New York, we didn't. We stand, we get somebody on the post, and we just stand around and watch. And tonight we came in, and down the stretch, we was running a pick and roll, and Christian was getting open looks. And, we got to be able to come out and do that when we getting pressure like New York was doing.
Who is this man, Henry James? Where did he come from, Mookie? He really turned it on tonight, didn't he?
Well, that's a guy who always can shoot it. Henry was around the league. Everybody know he can shoot it. He's a good standstill shooter for us. And, he came out and he know his role. And when you got a guy like that know his role, can shoot it, he's going to help you a lot on this team.
You're an outstanding defender. What is the impact of Dikembe Mutombo to your game so that you can put pressure on the opposing guards out front?
Well, it makes me go out and do a lot of pressure because you got some help back there. Deke's one of the best block shot in this league, and I think overall as a team, he brings out a defense, and we can go out and pressure. We can go out and don't worry about getting beat because you got some help back there.
Mookie, you seem to have the unique ability to cover your man and also go down and bother the big people like Patrick Ewing when he puts the ball on the floor. Is that something that you ever get burned with, or is it just mainly your speed that makes it work for you?
Well, occasionally you're going to get burnt because, you don't know where your man is. You're going and help. But when you go down on a big man, it's hard for him to dribble and pick it up quick and pass. It takes them a while, and, they get out of rhythm, and that's when you got to go down and double.
Well, the home streak lives for the Atlanta Hawks. Mookie Blaylock, you have a lot to do with it as usual, and congratulations on a terrific game, and thanks for visiting with us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to Al Troutwig.
All right, Johnny Hoops. He is the symbol of one of the more regrettable trades in New Jersey net history. Mookie Blaylock doing a little bit of everything tonight for the Atlanta Hawks. He's got the inside game, he's got the outside game, and he had 15 points in the Atlanta win. Let's show you the highlights now. Mike Crispino's got those in New York.
Thanks very much, Alan. To think